think I'm.
What do you say? Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping.
Just nailed it.
Fuck. That's what you get. I hate that sound, dude.
I hate when people chew with their mouth open.
Are we on?
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to the Stuck at the Airport podcast.
So, I have misophonia.
What is misophonia?
Like, misophobia or phonia?
Probably
Whatever.
phobia.
I think it's phonia. Because phonia is sound, I think. Like phone. Whatever. You might be right. That is like when people chew, like it can make you angry. It's like something in the brain that's actually wired weird. Like how people have foot fetishes, that's from brain wiring.
Yeah, because they're weird.
Yeah, they're weird. Something sitting too close to something else. So, yeah, like when people chew, it's specific people and specific sounds. It doesn't bother me as much as it used to. When I was younger, we would be at the dinner table and I'd just be staring.
Just like chew with your mouth closed, you animal.
My family. Well, it's not that, but I agree with you there too. That's gross. But like
the sound of like the mushing of the food.
The mushing.
That's a disgusting.
So like specifically when somebody would bite down on something kind of mushy and their back teeth and lift up and make like a sound, and it was fucking gross, and it still is kind of like gross to me.
That is gross. The adjective of people chewing their food when it turns to mush in their mouth kind of makes me sick.
They say, what did they say? You have to chew 30 times on every bite. I'm like, I counted, I was like, there's no way I'm doing this.
When I was younger, there was always this rumor that I heard that if you join the military, you're only allowed to chew like 7 times. So I would try and chew my food 7 times and swallow it.
You were getting ready for some more.
Yeah, I was ready to sign up.
Their showers are crazy. Like, don't they get like literally 3 or 5 minutes?
I don't know. I can ask Devin or my brother.
That's in a specific branch, like Marine showers.
Oh, neither of them are Marines.
No, I think they only get like a few minutes, and they get like like the water shuts off after they get so much water, and then it turns back on. Like they only have so much they can. That's so stupid. Navy. Navy's bad because they're on a submarine.
That makes sense.
They be stanking.
Limited resources on a ship.
Yeah. So they stank.
That would still suck. Actually, yeah. I know someone in the Navy. I can ask them.
I know somebody in the Navy too. Yeah, you should ask them.
Yeah. How long do you guys shower?
How much butt sex do you guys have?
All of it.
Well, I know you're in the Navy. You sus.
What else are you gonna do at sea?
Enjoy my time away from my family and friends because I hate all of them.
At sea?
No, what would you do? That'd be like so depressing. Imagine being on a submarine for like 3 months.
That would suck.
Yeah.
That would suck so bad. It would be cool at first. You're like, yeah, I'm on a fucking submarine.
It'd be cool for like a week. And then you'd be like, fuck this, dude.
And I think it would be the same with like an aircraft carrier or any other ship. It would be cool at first.
Yeah, and then you get... Man.
It'd be like, you have a job to do. You're not... It's not a cruise.
Everything becomes a job at some point. But I was thinking yesterday, I was watching planes fly over sporting events, and I was watching like a B-2 bomber fly over Arrowhead, which is in Kansas City. I wish I was a pilot in the Air Force so I would know what the inside of them look like. I want to know what they look like. I want to know, like, is there toilets? How big is it? Do you get to sleep on it? How does this work?
On, like, airplanes?
Like a B-2 bomber.
No.
So, but their missions are so long.
Actually, the crazy thing about the B-2 is...
You're the airplane guy.
None of them are stationed overseas. All of them are based in the U.S.
So they go there and then they come back.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. They're over 24-hour missions.
I don't think they're over 24 hours.
I saw something that said that they can be up to 31 hours.
That would fucking blow.
So how do you like shit or piss? You have to shit or they have to have a toilet.
I know this is a Google question. Does the B-2 have...
You can't not...
restroom capabilities?
I'm so curious.
Maybe that's like classified information.
Classified poop.
Yeah,
I want to take a classified poop.
It's the B-2...
I'll tell everybody. No, I wouldn't tell anybody because it'd be classified.
Actually, that's like one of the top questions.
Really?
Yeah. The B-2 is highly automated, and one crew member can sleep in a camp bed, use a toilet, or prepare a hot meal while the other monitors the aircraft.
That's insane. So they have like microwaves and shit? How do you prepare? I mean...
I don't know.
Unless they have like a flameless ration
heater.
At
the Air Force Museum in Dayton, they have a B-2.
Oh, I want to go.
They're big. They're real big.
I see, yeah.
But most of that, like, shape is probably for fuel and
Well, yeah, because they go so long distance.
Yeah, so it's like there's not a whole lot of space in the fuselage area.
Hmm.
So it's probably real cramped.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm not like an airplane connoisseur. Like, you know way more than I do. Are B-2 bombers nuclear powered?
Not powered, they're nuclear
Fueled?
capable. They can
Capable.
drop nukes.
So, but they don't run off of nuclear or fuel like
There are no
submarines.
aircraft that run on nuclear energy.
Why?
The reactors they use are fucking huge. They use them on aircraft carriers, and they're massive. There's multiple of them.
So they're just too big, basically?
Yeah. We don't have the technology to make a small enough one. Unless we do, and I don't know it.
That would be like an insane step in plane evolution.
It
like
would, because
more evolution.
The aircraft carriers
Would have to be refueled.
can last like, I think, 50 years, and they get replaced every 25 years or something.
I want nuclear reactors in my car.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That would be awesome. You wouldn't have to buy fuel.
Ever worry about.
Nope.
I'm gonna concoct some.
You're going to get killed.
Well, there was that one guy remember that kid that was 16 and built a nuclear reactor in his shed?
Yep.
If he can do it. Nah, we can't be discussing building nuclear reactors.
You'll get off by
I'm too stupid
the
to
oil
build that.
companies. They'll take you out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, do you think there's a safe way? No. Let me rephrase that. Do you think we have a stable version of uranium or a nuclear fuel that is kept under secret because of oil companies?
I think if we did, it would probably be used for military. And to my knowledge right now, it's not, at least in aircraft or like tanks or regular vehicles, only on aircraft carriers, actually.
So I wonder if, okay, then we're going to, hypothetical, if there are if there's other species of intelligent life out there, like aliens, obviously, I wonder if they've found nuclear fuel or stable nuclear isotopes and use them.
Maybe, I don't know, because I'm with all the supposed wreckage. I wonder if they have if they discover that they are nuclear powered.
Yeah, and but they can't recreate that fuel because it's a different form that we don't have the access to. We don't have maybe the material to combine it with the uranium or plutonium, whatever they're using that's nuclear. Because nuclear is a massive technological deal. Like, it's huge. So why wouldn't they discover something like that or similar and use it to their advantage? I mean, anti-gravity, but maybe there's a stepping stone.
The nuclear to anti-gravity?
Like, say you go, right now we're in fossil fuel mode, electric, nuclear reactors that the military uses, stable nuclear fuel that civilians use, and then anti-gravity propulsion. It's like I don't know.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Like, we're walking upstairs, but we're only on the first step right now.
And there's a lot of stairs.
Yeah,
What if there aren't that many stairs? What if there's like 3?
And we're too
and that's
fucking
it?
stupid to get past one?
Yeah.
We're type 1 civilization, aren't we type 1? There's 3 types or 4 types?
I remember my friend Matt was telling me about this. I don't know if we're type 1. I think
Multiplanetary would be type 2, I think. Don't quote me on it.
I'm not sure if it goes up or down.
It goes up.
What are the types of civilization?
Type 3 or 4 would be able to construct a Dyson sphere and harness the power of a star.
The Dyson sphere. The good old. There's 7 types of.
What?
7. This is 4. This is 5. This is 12. Okay, we gotta find something decent here. We'll go with this one that says 7 because that sounds like a number I recognize. This says a Type 7 civilization is one that has an energy consumption of 10 to the 76th power watts, and it can control the entire metaverse.
Huh.
It is more of a god than a man. It can take 10 dodecillion years to reach this rating. That sounds...
And physically and timely impossible.
Okay, that source is
That's ridiculous.
That source is
I think there's 4. I'm almost confident it's 3 or 4.
We'll go to the 4.
Yeah, do that one.
Type 4 civilization or K4 civilization harnesses the power of its own supercluster or galaxies and eventually its universe of origin and becomes effectively immortal.
Yeah, that's it. A Dyson sphere is a theoretical object that goes around a star and can harness its power and direct it into the civilization that they can use for eternal power. Just for context.
I don't think we'll ever get there. I won't see one.
Fuck, no. Well, it'll be... If we don't blow ourselves up in the next 5 seconds, it'll be minimum, I think, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years.
That's
from
if
now.
humans don't even die out by then.
Yeah,
Maybe
if we're still alive.
an asteroid's on its way here.
Multiplanetary expansion is so important. Like, I know we're in the baby stages of realizing this, but like it has to happen because Earth is not as stable as people may think. I believe it only takes like one massive solar flare, or I don't know, an asteroid or anything, nuclear war.
Well, asteroids have already hit before and fucked everything up.
Theoretically,
Ask a dinosaur.
I have.
Which one?
Triceratops.
Triceratops is an epic dinosaur.
I walked up to him. I said, "Hello, my fellow dinosaur brother. I'd like to ask you something." And he said, "I have a moment." So I said, "All right, thanks. Would you like to talk about my Lord and Savior, Velociraptor?" And he shit on me.
I would pray to Velociraptor.
Ooh, Velociraptors are cool.
They
I
are.
feel like if Velociraptors are around today, we'd be able to like tame them and train them. They're intelligent. Or at least we think we are.
I'd make it like a horse. That'd be like my riding thing.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck do you mean? Make it like a horse?
Yeah, I would like put a saddle on it and I'd take it into battle.
Or like ride it to work.
Yeah.
That's Gary. He's just
That's scary.
tie him to like the fucking like park inside.
We'll regress back to like
Monkey.
not that far.
Come on, I don't want
Back
to be
to
monkey.
like Western days where horses were ridden around everywhere.
Yeah, but Velociraptors.
Yeah, but Velociraptors.
Do you think we'll ever be able to bring back a biologically identical dinosaur?
From what I've read, no.
Why? I wonder why.
I don't think they have like the DNA. I
Don't
think
they have it
it's
for the
too-
mammoth?
The mammoth isn't nearly as old.
There's no way they haven't already tried to do this.
I don't think they can. Actually, they're working on cloning a mammoth. They're going to breed it or like artificially inseminate an Asian elephant because they're closer in relation to the mammoth than the African
Who's
elephant.
not in the Asian elephant?
Who?
You said they're inseminating.
Yeah, like scientists. They actually want to create
Scientists are coming inside of an Asian elephant.
artificially.
Oh, come on. Gotta do it naturally.
There's actually a place. I don't know if they're still working on it or whatnot or what's
Imagine
going on with
mounting
it.
an Asian. Sorry. Go ahead.
That'd be a tall feat. It's called Pleistocene Park. It's supposed to be in the Siberia area where they want to bring back a bunch of megafauna before they all
Like
the
the
extinct
giant
ones.
flowers.
No, like mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, dire wolves.
Ooh, dire wolves are
like-
cool. Gigantopithecus. Bigfoot.
Yeah, bring them back. That's what it is.
That's crazy. Gigantopithecus was a very, very real thing that existed, as far as we know, as recent as 100,000 years ago, but could have been significantly closer to our timeline than we know, because we only get the 100,000 years based off of the bones that we've dug up. But there could be bones that are 30,000 years old. So they could have totally been hanging out with, well, they were hanging out with hominids.
Like Neanderthals and Homo sapiens.
So I get why people believe in like Sasquatch,
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
I mean, in theory, it makes sense. Like, we evolved from monkey. Eventually, they stood up. It's like, why didn't these guys just go do their own thing somewhere?
Were they different? Were they not hominid? I know they were bipedal, but
Gigantopithecus?
yeah. Was that a hominid?
I'm unsure.
I think it was a monkey, like an actual like primate. Not.
It's probably closer in relation to a primate than a human. Actually, I don't know, because Homeboy stood up on two legs. Like, they look very human-like, just furrier.
Bro, I would be so scared if I lived like 100,000 years ago. Like, imagine like hanging out and being like, hey, there's a saber-toothed tiger. Hey, there's a fucking woolly mammoth. Hey, there's fucking Gigantopithecus. Like, fuck. Hey, there's 26 tribes of different hominids trying to rape me.
Surviving would be
A challenge.
yeah, it would suck.
Yeah. Like, that would be all you knew, so you would adapt to it and be happy. I wonder what that's a good question. I wonder what the testosterone levels were of, like, cavemen. Because right now we know that they've been on a significant decline over the last 100 years, so that's since we've been testing. So before that, right now the range is 300 to 1,000, like, nanograms per deciliter, which is the range, the natural range. I wonder if they were at, like, 2,000, 3,000. That's why they were so...
So effects of testosterone are what, like, not hair growth per se, but like body hair growth.
Body hair growth,
muscle
mass, fat loss, increase in sex drive, so mating would have been more prevalent. Better mood, more energy.
Well, they needed the energy to survive. They were
Protein synthesis has increased significantly.
I think they were, at least Neanderthals, they were significantly hairier than we are today.
So that
They weren't as tall, but I don't know if that's not a direct effect of
Mm-mm.
testosterone.
although testosterone can impact height through puberty. The higher your testosterone, the
They're taller.
taller you can be. I think that's been studied, but I don't know if that's true, like 100%, like confirmed.
What? Well, yeah, maybe we evolved to have less testosterone because we didn't need it anymore. As
Yeah.
we evolved, got smarter, there was less need for it, so it decreased over time.
So if the male hormone testosterone is going down and the female hormone estrogen, I believe, has been going up. This is going to get into like the woke sector. Do you think that we're on a path to a gender neutral species? Because we don't need to have.
Then how would I don't know how we would reproduce then?
That is a good question. Yeah, that was a stupid thing. I mean, I wonder. Your female and male sex organs wouldn't change.
Maybe like over thousands of years. I've thought about this too. I don't think it's too far off in the future either, where if you want a kid, you can choose what traits it has.
Genome
Yeah.
selection. I
Uh-huh.
think that's already sort of happening. Like I think that it's already been trialed. I'm
I-
not certain, but it's been tried in primates, like I think monkeys and stuff.
So eventually over time, like instead of a woman giving birth, it's just like, oh, okay, you want this kid? He's in a tube. You can take him home in 6 weeks.
So, okay, so say everybody has access to that eventually, then all the desirable traits become undesirable because everybody has them.
Yeah, probably.
So I wonder if that. But then everybody's hyper athletic and a certain height and a certain muscle mass density. I don't know. Like everybody would have certain color eyes. I wonder. That's a good question.
That would be like, well, it would root out genetic diseases probably.
Yep, Alzheimer's and Neuralink.
I think I didn't read the article. I read the headline of an article that said the first human trial for Neuralink was
Successful.
yeah.
It just happened last week.
What is Neuralink supposed to do exactly?
Right now, from my understanding, I think that I think that it is limited in its capabilities at the moment, probably because it's so new. So I think the main purpose of Neuralink is to be able to think about what you want and have like a user internet, like I don't know, face, like you can think about things and it will show you, like your search in your head, basically.
That would be crazy.
And then also disease prevention, like Alzheimer's is supposed to be able to fix Alzheimer's, supposed to cure blindness, it's supposed to cure people that are deaf, so stuff like that. And then other diseases related to the brain and Parkinson's, I think, and other things. That's its goal.
Would you get one?
I thought about this all day on Friday at work. No. And that's because there's never been a billionaire in history that's used his money for good, it seems like. So I'm always suspicious of people that have that much power seeking, or people that have that much power already pushing their limits. Say 300 million people get Neuralink implantation. Like, it's totally possible that you'll be able to control somebody's bodily function.
Like just a software update can fuck everybody over.
Say I had a Flipper Zero in my pocket and I was mad at you. I'm taking it out and I'm gonna shut your shit off.
if you fucking link the Flipper Zero,
I'm gonna make you
to
masturbate
everyone's
in front of like a
Neuralink.
fucking school field.
yeah, then you're going to jail.
Yeah, you're going to jail for public indecent. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't know. I wouldn't get one.
I
Would
thought
you?
about it too. If it was like cyberpunk type deal, then I might do it. But I don't think it'll be like a cyberpunk type
People
deal.
will hack them. People will have to figure out how to get in there and fuck with you.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that too much.
The
Though.
government,
They
the
could
United
ju-
States government,
They could just send you ads.
would fuck with your shit. And so instead of finding losers in fucking subreddits and like shit like that and grooming them to be fucking like mass shooters, they would just get inside your head and say like, hey, what if you did this?
Yes, you'd be schizophrenic.
Mm-hmm.
Without the schizophrenia.
Yeah, they would totally 100%. CIA would be fucking with you.
Like you said, there's voices in my head. They'd be like, "No, dude, you're crazy."
I know, like seriously. Okay, hear him. But speaking of the CIA, I was watching. I had seen this clip years ago, but I remembered it that there was a book written on it, and I wanted to rewatch the clip. I think I'm gonna get this book. I can't remember the name of it, so forgive me for not giving the author credit here. But Charles Manson being a CIA asset. Have you ever heard of this?
I think I've heard of it. I haven't looked into it.
This is super fascinating. I'm very new to this topic as well, and I can't remember everything off topic, but in the 30-minute video that I watched on it, it was a Rogan podcast. The amount of coincidences and crazy scenarios that had to have happened for Manson to continue to get out of jail, and his parole officers being so specific. So, like, for example, Manson broke parole the day after he was released, which is an automatic, you're going back to jail. His parole officer was going to take him back to jail. Somebody stepped in who was still not named. There's files that have been released over years, and stepped in and put a stop to that and let him keep on committing crimes. Like, he 100% was allowed to have been able to keep committing crimes.
What kind of crimes?
Dude, Manson
was he committing?
Okay,
I don't know a lot about Charles Manson, honestly.
So, Charles Manson was a lifetime criminal from like the age of like fucking 9 years old to his death. Like setting cars on fire, burglary, stealing shit, just an absolute menace. And so he didn't like being in the general population because he got so used to prison that he would commit a petty crime just so he would go back to jail and prison. So eventually he meets hippies, and being Charles Manson, who is I know he was probably psychopathic or sociopathic, who has no empathy, and also a little bit insane at the time, meets hippie groupies that end up following him and believing him and hanging on every word he says. You know how the people have cult followers. It was like a cult.
It was like a cult.
It was a cult. Eventually, I think he convinces 2 or 3 women to murder Sharon Tate. And so, I don't know the whole thing. I know not a lot about Manson. So he convinces them to murder, according to the trial. They murder Sharon Tate and her husband, and I think maybe somebody else, 2 girls, maybe 2 women. And that's basically the popularity of Charles Manson, that he murdered. He was controversial because he didn't murder anybody, but he was convicted as the murderer. So he was a controversial figure, and that's kind of where his shit comes from. But the amount of crimes that he committed is impossible to be out on the street. Somebody was letting him commit these crimes and studying him and using him. 100%. Probably for MK Ultra. Mind control.
So you think that they were possibly using him to just gain information on crazy-ass people under the influence of
LSD
drugs?
Well, we know that one thing that the CIA did, we know of, is that they would, those people in hotels with LSD,
they would film them having sex with prostitutes.
They would film them having sex with prostitutes in a 2-way mirror. So that's just one thing that they've done. So it's without question that they've done worse things than that. And Manson, you have to watch this. It's so fascinating. Like, everything that happens is so specific and so bizarre. And, like, your everyday person, you would say that Manson was a CIA asset or a CIA whatever, and they would look at you like you're fucking insane. But, like, no. Like, I'm very convinced that he was directly related. Somebody was from the CIA was controlling him. 100%.
To just gain, like...
I'm not even sure.
I'm curious what, like, an ulterior motive would be outside of the MK Ultra type thing.
It was probably just to study. Well, they knew that he was a cult leader, basically, and the CIA has always been fascinated with cult leaders. That's why partially why they created MK Ultra, so they could learn how to control people. So by studying other people that had gained that access, they were learning, most likely. And then introducing psychedelic drugs in the 60s and the hippie era was also beneficial to them. I don't know. World's crazy. It's been fucked up for a while.
It is crazy.
But yeah.
I wanted to talk about the UFO lady.
I was just gonna say that.
I wanted to talk about it.
Diana Walsh. What's her last?
Diana.
She has another
Walsh.
name.
It starts with an R or a P.
I don't even know.
Polska or something.
Something like that.
She
It's
was
kind of Polish.
recently on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I listened to it because I'm fast. It was a UFO episode. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. More UAP stuff.
I was finishing that today. I didn't get all the way done with it. I'm like 30 minutes out from the end.
I think you covered pretty much most of the bases there.
This is gonna be fascinating because we have different opinions
We
on
do.
this.
And right off rip, I didn't have like a bad impression of her or anything. Actually thought it was really fascinating how she was a professor of religious studies involved with UFOs, because I've always thought that UFOs have been around for a long time. They've been written about, painted in like religious artifacts, or like stories of someone like what the fuck, John. I can't remember what to even call him.
Painting?
Not, I don't want to say a prophet, but a disciple. Like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It's one of them writing a fiery chariot came down from the sky.
Or the burning bushes.
Yeah, like stuff like that. It's like, what are you actually seeing? So to me, it's always been kind of prevalent in religion. So I thought it was really fascinating how a religious professor was involved with UFO stuff. But as the podcast went on, my first inkling of this is kind of weird happened when she talked about going into the desert and searching that UFO crash site supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, Tyler, that she names, is a real person.
Who is Tyler? Did she say? Like, what significance does he have?
I was reading some comments around, and they listed his full name. Like, he's a real person. He works for NASA.
Okay.
She talked about him like he was a superstar, Batman type deal kind of guy. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
I agree.
But they also brought out, was it Lou Elizondo?
Mm-hmm.
Was it him, or there's some other popular?
Lou Elizondo?
There's another popular. She said 3 of them went out.
Yeah,
it was her, Tyler, and
fairly confident that it was Lou Elizondo.
Either way, I think he's irrelevant. My point, but
is it?
Supposedly,
This
guy Tyler needed permission to go to this site, which kind of struck me as weird. He's not working
government.
Yeah, he's just like a NASA employee.
NASA is a government agency.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Are you 100% sure?
Give us 1 second, chat.
I know it's funded by the government. Partially.
Yeah. NASA stands for National Aeronautics and Space Administration. NASA is a U.S. government agency that is responsible for science and technology related to the Air Force. The space age started in 1957 with the launch of the Soviet satellite Sputnik. So they are an official government agency.
Either way, this dude Tyler brings out this professor who studies religion, and Lou Elizondo, whatever his fucking name is, out to the desert to go search for UFO parts. That doesn't raise any like hairs for you? That they're just like bringing random people out to these sites?
No, by random people.
She's just a college professor.
But she had befriended, from my knowledge, she had been granted access. Wasn't it because she wanted to learn about it and she got the right contact, basically the right friendship connection?
My issue with it is...
like they were all familiar with each other.
That's fine. But my issue with it is she's literally just a college professor. Like, to me, in my eyes, if the government wants to keep this so under wraps, why are they giving permission to just a random-ass college professor who is friends with some guy that they allow to go there?
So... she said that he had permission.
Yeah.
Did he have to get
He had to get permission for them. Yes. She said they were blindfolded when they went out there.
Yeah,
they could not know the location.
When I was watching it, I was at work, so I was kind of half in, half out.
Yeah.
I wasn't fully locked in on the podcast, but I got like a good summary of it. So she has no...
she has no government
so
affiliation.
there's no reason that she would be studying UAP.
Other than sheer curiosity, no.
Like, there's no reason she'd be being granted access.
No.
She had no clearance.
I don't think she has. She
She
never
never mentioned
mentioned having clearance for anything, which is weird to me.
I see your point.
But also, she said they dug up some stuff, and they had to go home, and they went through like regular ass. Two of them went through like TSA. I think the Tyler person didn't have to or something.
He was a free pass, basically.
Yeah, but she said the government, or they go through the TSA, and they see the things in their bags, and all they do is just phone DC and say, hey, these people have UAP parts. We're just letting you know. And then they're allowed to go through, like totally nothing. These people just have UAP parts.
Well, having you explain this to me is kind of making me a little more like, okay, like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I get it, I guess. That's kind of weird.
That's really weird.
Do you think that she is embellishing something that really happened? Or is she completely
That doesn't
lying?
even sound like an embellishment. That just sounds like a lie. An embellishment for a story like this, for me at least, would be they go out to this site, they find some crazy shit, and you just omit the TSA part.
The thing that I find odd about her is that while, yeah, that sounds a little bizarre, she does not strike me at all as somebody that wants to go on a multi-million streamed podcast and lie to the general public.
Me either. That's why
Like,
I'm kind of confused here. I'm at a crossroads. But that isn't even it. So there's like the UFO rubble. They're allowed to have UFO material. Another one was kind of based around her religious studies and things that, like Joe pointed out, I can't remember what the name is. There's a part of the brain that they talked about.
The pineal gland.
Yeah, the pineal gland.
Yep.
They said there's a big statue of it at the Vatican. Yeah, pine cone looking deal. And supposedly in the Pope's staff is like the pineal gland.
Pine cone.
And she didn't know this. And I thought that was weird because she's a professor of religious studies focused on Christianity, and she doesn't pick up on something like that.
So I see what you're saying, but she doesn't. Okay, so we need to connect why the pine cone and the pineal gland are significant. She doesn't study psychedelics, and that's what that whole conversation was related to. The pineal gland releases dimethyltryptamine. This hasn't been proven, but Rogan states it. But that's something that we need to discuss. That this has never been actually proven, but it's theorized. So the pineal gland, the third eye, that's why people call it the third eye. It's supposedly right behind your third eye. That's what the placement. Secretes dimethyltryptamine theoretically upon birth, death, and dreaming. And when you take psychedelics, apparently psilocybin is supposed to interact with the pineal gland, and the pineal gland is like a dimension opener is what that they're hinting at. What at least Rogan on the podcast is hinting at, and connects you to a higher power, whatever that may be. So the significance of the pine cone on the Pope's staff would potentially suggest that the use of psychedelics were involved in their religious beliefs throughout history. That's where like the burning bushes, the chariots on fire, that's something you see on psilocybin, DMT, and the plants were in the same area that those sightings were supposedly observed.
I just found it weird how she, like, I feel like someone with a PhD in religious studies focused on Christianity would kind of have all this stuff locked in.
I see what you're saying, but
I see your point as well.
I don't see like she didn't study psychedelics, so she wouldn't have noticed that as being significant. She might have seen the Pope's staff and just been like, hey, that's weird, but never like put it two and two together that might have a significant, I don't know, meaning behind the pineal gland, because that's not her research field. She's still on the fence, it seems like, about. Because if you tell a religious person that, she's believing.
I was also curious. I don't know what her religious beliefs are.
That's another thing that I liked about her, was that she wasn't shoving specific religious beliefs down anybody's throat.
No, I just thought it was cool that she was just studying religion. I thought that was interesting.
So with telling somebody that psychedelics influence an entire religion and God would be the meaning to their belief system, so she wouldn't want to. She's religious herself.
Does she state?
I'm pretty confident she's religious herself. I remember looking her up. She didn't say it on the podcast. What's her name? Diana Walsh.
I think if you just look up Diana Walsh, you'll find her.
She's a practicing Catholic.
Practicing Catholic.
She said that on Lex Friedman's podcast. That's what it says. So challenging, she would not want to challenge her beliefs. Like most religious people choose not to. So she wouldn't have even entertained that thought. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. The desert scenario, when it's presented to me, like when you're saying it, it's kind of like, yeah, that's kind of weird. So either she is embellishing that story, lying about that story. Do you think she's lying about that story to gain some credibility and telling the truth on many others? But that's like the most significant part of the story.
Yeah, that's why I think she's so popular. It's like that one story. And I don't want to say like she's lying, but it makes me wonder if like I make friends with these people, can I go to these secret locations?
Okay, so now let's think about Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar let people have access to these locations that weren't.
Bob Lazar also didn't need. He wasn't getting permission from the government to go to these places. He was just going illegally.
So do you think she said that she got permission as a way to... Okay, say she went without the government's knowledge, like he never actually contacted. Was she just covering her ass and his ass by saying that?
Possibly, but I think if it's on Joe Rogan and she says something like that...
It'll be checked.
Yeah, the government's going to know about it. They're going to say, hey, we didn't give this woman permission to go here. And that kind of outs everyone she's associated with.
She's a fascinating story.
I'm not done.
Okay, keep
I
going.
still got some more.
I want to hear it.
It really isn't a dig at her. It was something that they were talking about that I thought was weird. She said, I believe that the way this stuff is kept secret, or it's passed down like traditions, like oral traditions, and that's how these things are kept secret. And I thought that was very strange because they've mentioned multiple times on that podcast how keeping a big secret with a lot of people is literally impossible. But they're doing it right now with that based on what she said.
So she's saying it's all by mouth.
Yes. And the whole point, like the way a lot of people debunk or try to debunk like 9/11 conspiracy theories based on like the government being involved or not, are that you can't have that many people in on a secret like that because someone's going to spill the beans. So that's how they debunk those. But they're keeping the UFO stuff secret via word of mouth with all these people involved. I thought that was a little
sus,
a little hypocritical, or was ironic. I don't know. It was weird.
So her only claim to fame as far as before this is she was a college professor at the highest level, I think.
I think so, yeah. She has a PhD in religious studies. She's a college professor. And the last one, this actually... I don't know, this might just be me grasping at straws here, but did you get to the part in the podcast where they were talking about the rag or cloth that supposedly has like an image of Jesus on it? So there is a very famous Catholic artifact. Supposedly on this thing is the face of Jesus after, I think he wiped his face.
Wiped his ass.
Not his ass.
Oh.
Wouldn't be shit on it. But he wiped his face while he was walking to get crucified, and his face is now on the cloth. And supposedly it's been transported all over the place. It still exists, and they've done tests on it to see if it's real or not. It's been like repaired and moved all over. But the one thing I thought was weird was they were reading an article about this thing, and Joe was kind of butchering these names of these French people, and she didn't know them either.
And they're French, they don't matter.
Not that they were French. It's that if you are a professor of religious studies focused on Christianity, this artifact is a big deal.
This is significant.
It's extremely significant. So how do you not know the names of the people who have studied this, worked on it, or had possession of it?
I don't think you're grasping at straws with that one.
That's like...
I didn't get to that, so I don't know.
That's like me going to you and saying, well, what's something... You're really knowledgeable about weapons, right? Guns.
I like guns.
If I said...
They go pew-pew.
Kyle, what's the name of this brand? And instead of saying like Palmetto, you said like I don't know how to pronounce that.
Palmido.
Yeah, you're like, I have no idea. I'm like, what about Smith & Wesson? You're like, Smith and who now? Smith and what?
Or if I asked you about anime, like something that you watch, what's the name of this girl? And what's her
Just
name?
like
Yakuza.
Yuzu. Like Yaza.
Yeah, that'd be
like
bizarre.
just butchering the pronunciation.
I see what you're saying.
It's like that's kind of a basic thing you should know. And all these people had possession of this thing and they worked on it.
So I'm not saying that she's telling the truth, but I'm just so confused on what her point is here. Like, okay, like why? Like, you're already a successful professor. You're intelligent, obviously. You have people that love and respect you. Why would you throw away your validity on a podcast by saying you went? It just, she doesn't strike. I don't know. It's just weird.
I think
She's a weird
validity or like canceling yourself over something like UFOs nowadays is a lot harder to do because it's being talked about in the mainstream and it's fairly widely accepted, I would say.
But if you come off as sounding like a complete moron about something,
I don't think she came off sounding like a complete moron.
I noticed something. So I was reading comments on YouTube and then I was reading comments on Reddit about her. The YouTube comments were all positive. I didn't see a single negative thing about her. Everything was, she's the best in this. She's awesome, man. Let's get her back on. This is the best podcast ever. No negativity. Nobody questioning anything. But then on Reddit, I saw more flags being raised, which I found fascinating.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. Like, if you look at the comments on YouTube, on like a clip, or I don't think the full podcast is up. So she has a 15-minute clip on YouTube. It's all positive about, this is like the best podcast. She's awesome. Like, it's just weird. Like, nobody else is really picking up on this, it seems like. Even on Reddit, it was few and far between.
I looked for it on Reddit because I went and talked to Alex about it. I was like, these little things kind of raise some hairs for me. And he said the same thing. He said, I don't know how I really feel about her. He said he had to finish listening to it. But I looked on Reddit for any threads or comments related to someone who might be thinking the same thing as me. And it was kind of hard to find.
Which is fascinating. Because the points that you make are legitimate. So I wonder why nobody else is picking up on it. I didn't really pick up on it either while watching it. Like, yeah, I was like, yeah, it's like interesting, but it's weird.
The UFO, the desert thing is the biggest one for me. Like, supposedly the government still knows about this site. And
they covered it with like soda cans.
Yeah, which is interesting. I'm like, oh, that's, I guess, kind of a cool deterrent type thing.
So can she disclose the site location and then prove that it exists?
She doesn't know where it's at. She was blindfolded to get there. It's just the fact that she was granted permission.
But it was in Nevada.
It was in the desert. So it was some of those states. Said it wasn't in Roswell. It was probably near Roswell. It happened like 70 years ago or something. It was a pretty
Roswell
old
was
site.
50s?
No, it was 47.
Really?
Yeah, 1947.
My grandpa was 5.
He was 5 years old?
Hmm.
Why didn't he go to Roswell?
I don't know. I'm going to have to ask him. Dude, what the fuck's wrong with you? You could have seen an alien.
I just thought that was a little weird.
I think that when it comes to anybody with UFO information, you have to be hypercritical of them. Because they do have something to gain. Like, for example,
she got the books.
The books.
I saw a post on Reddit that all her books, like minutes after that podcast aired, they all sold out.
Well, like I said, that tells me that people liked her and believed her. That's weird. Or else you wouldn't.
A lot of people take what Rogan says or people that he brings on as gospel.
Nah, not that one guy that talks about UFOs that I hate. What's his name?
I just had to re-record it
because shut computers off.
The mic came undone. It's a little finicky. No one likes Jeremy Corbell, even in the UFO community.
I don't think Jeremy Corbell likes himself.
Yeah, I think he likes himself too much.
Yeah, I think that's why nobody else likes him.
I don't know how I feel about him exactly.
He has some like good information, but he just presents it so foolishly. Like
he does. He's very kind of flamboyant about it. Kind of.
Bro's gay. It's flamboyant.
Jeremy Corbell?
Maybe he is.
I don't know. But if he's done anything good, it's bring more light and popularity to the UFO topic.
Yeah, and then people listen to him and say, fuck this is stupid as hell. I don't believe this shit because you're a moron.
I also find it weird how, it was really hard to find people questioning that lady when a big thing I see on Reddit is questions. They are always very hypercritical
Yeah, they took it at
of
face value.
any like video, any person. They always asking questions about it, but her was nothing.
Which is weird. So, like, why? Is it because maybe it's because she's a timid woman. She doesn't come off as like...
That might be it too.
That's my theory. Because that's not somebody that is typically going to go out and do that and lie. Yeah, her story it was a little general. Like, some of the things that she was saying were like, okay, that's like... Can you elaborate on that? Or why not go into specifics and details? It's just weird.
She did mention the material they found was... You could crumple it up and would go back to its original shape. Very in line with the Roswell stuff. Maybe it was the same things. I don't know.
Or she just heard about that and then took it as her own
Could have been.
story. That's something easy. So if I was to go on a podcast and I was... Let's put ourselves in her shoes. Let's say that we were successful in something and we wanted to make up a lie. Like, would it be enticing to do that in such a massive setting? I don't think it would be, because people would get you on your shit. Somebody out there would be like, yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who listen to that.
Like, if I was as smart as she is you can't be stupid and get that degree and that popularity with your students. I wouldn't take that risk. But that's just me. And being a female, females are less prone to taking risks as well. So it's interesting.
I'm not sure how I feel about the overall situation. Because, like, I want to believe her.
Everybody does. Who doesn't want to believe UFOs?
Maybe I'm being hypercritical of the whole thing. Maybe I'm digging too much and trying to find flaws in it.
She has a podcast on Lex Friedman you can watch, too.
I should listen to that as well.
And you can double down on what she's saying.
I'll cross my T's and dot my I's.
Yeah.
Was it recent?
Probably within the last year. But that might be why she was able to get on Rogan. Because she started out on Friedman. And he has a...
Lex has a very, very big following as well.
I started watching him when he had like 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I was like, this guy's going to blow up. He's extremely well spoken.
I like Lex.
I just wanted to put it out there. I'm an OG Lex supporter.
You were there before it was cool.
Yeah. Oh, that was 3 years ago. But she has a 2 hour and 55-minute podcast.
Actually, I'm kind of glad. Different. I'm kind of glad it's older. Because she said that story happened in like 2014. So she's going to be telling the same story, or should at least tell the same story.
Yeah. She has 6 children?
Yeah, a lot.
So you got to think about that too. Like, she doesn't want to put... Like, if she is exposed as a liar, and she's putting her children's reputation on the line as well, and her husband. So I don't know. It's fascinating.
Now, people do crazy shit.
That's true, and they do. So you can't take things at face value. Man, I liked her. You ruined it.
I don't know. You brought up some good argumentative points about it as well. I wouldn't say what I said discredits her in any way. Just question it. Dig a little deeper.
Okay, let me ask you this. Out of all of the whistleblowers or UFO specialists, who do you think is the most credible?
Who is the most credible?
Or who do you believe the most? Who would you have to, if you could pick one?
Maybe Bob Lazar. I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people do not like Bob Lazar.
That. Yeah.
But I'm picking Bob Lazar because his story has stayed pretty much identical since the day he told it in the 80s. And to keep up something like that for 40 plus years, that's hard to do. As far as I know, he has had no monetary gain from this.
They destroyed his life.
Yeah, nothing good came of this.
And there's proof that he worked there.
There is proof that he worked there. Nothing good happened with exposing this for him, as far as I know. So I see no reason for him to lie. Maybe he just likes the attention. I don't know.
He doesn't like to give interviews, so like he'll almost never do them. If you noticed, he doesn't like it because it. I remember him saying that. Like that Rogan interview was rare.
It was like hard to get him on there.
So he doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I would say Bob Lazar.
I totally believe Bob Lazar, and I hope that I'm right on my intuition. Because if he's lying, then I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, who's lying? Who's telling the truth? Is there anything actually out there? Or is it all just a big psyop? I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people don't believe Lazar. Or at least that I see on Reddit. A lot of people think he's full of shit.
Why?
I don't know.
What do they point out?
They're like his migraine thing. I don't
He
know
has
exactly. A lot of them bring up the fact that his education. And didn't he say it was like wiped, low key?
Yeah, they like doxed his shit, like for sure.
Yeah, they like tried to erase him.
The reason that he was recruited was because he was an engineer, a patented engineer before. I don't know if he's an engineer, but he was patented for inventions, and he was trying to create some sort of like car with what was it like
He put jet engines
a jet
on his
engine?
car.
Yeah, he was making like really crazy things, and getting newspaper articles and some attention from it, and then they recruited him to work on back engineer spacecraft because he was extremely intelligent. So his education.
Some people point out, they're like, why would they get this random dude? And I kind
It
of
wasn't random.
I thought about that a little bit. And maybe he was just like a random guy, but he was in the newspaper. Like, why wouldn't you want someone or different people taking a crack at something that you know nothing about?
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to say something else. You're right. Yeah, like he had a new perspective, and that's why they brought him in, is what he said. They wanted him because he had a new perspective that their current engineers were not able to figure out. So that's why he was recruited.
You have to look at things from a different angle.
That's why because he was out there a little bit in his creations.
That tracks for me. That makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. So like when they say his education, I disagree. I mean, how many people have become extremely intelligent billionaires and they've dropped out of like 7th grade? Like, it doesn't mean you're stupid.
No.
So I don't know. Lazar is the most credible. I'm suspicious of
David Grush.
David Grush, whatever. Yeah, I'm suspicious of him, and I know you like him.
I do.
Graves, I like. I think I take Graves more seriously than Grush. I don't know why. It's just like an intuition thing for me.
I think Ryan Graves doesn't really state to know all the secrets like Grush does. He's just like, I saw these things.
Which I like.
Pilots are seeing these things, and they're facing repercussions by hiding these things and keeping them a secret. He's like, that's not okay. They should be able to talk about these things. So I like Graves. He's doing good stuff. David Fravor, I think he's kind of in the same boat.
I like Fravor.
Just, I saw these things. Here's what I saw. I don't know anything about them.
Grush is like really pushing I'm so like, I don't know. I just feel like he is set up. Like he's set up by somebody intelligent in intelligence agencies. That's my thing, or my belief system on him.
I see the point, but I don't really get the point.
As to why they would do that?
Yeah, why would the government want to technically highlight something like this that they really want to keep under wraps? Is it to push them in a different direction to make us think
Probably.
that it is non-human intelligence in spacecrafts when in actuality, yeah, maybe it's military.
That's my thought.
Something that is beyond our comprehension.
So if I had to guess, I'm playing devil's advocate. There's no such thing as UFOs or there's no such thing as aliens that we know of yet, and we're pushing this story to get people off the trail of new spacecraft and intelligence. Or we're trying to set up a distraction from something that's happening soon. They've done that before.
Yeah.
Every time that something big happens, they distract with say something big happens in the government, there's a massively televised school shooting. That's happened over and over again. 9/11. They used that as an opportunity to pass extremely aggressive bills for privacy.
Like the Patriot Act.
Yes. So we know that they use things to distract. And that could totally be a diversion plan.
That's an interesting one. I hope it's all true.
I don't know if I do. Because there's then okay, so say there are aliens out there. There's evil aliens out there. Then there has to be. Like there has to be some sort of like shitbag federation of shitbags that are aliens. And it just I don't know. It kind of scares me because evil seems to prevail in the world. I don't know.
I think if there were, like, why wouldn't they have already come here and fuck shit up?
Because there's good aliens that are saying, "Step the fuck back," and they're going, okay, I guess for now, guys. Kind of scared me. That's like, so you know what I mean? Like, so what if the bad guys take out the good guys and then they just go marching right into our homes and probing us and saying like, you smell funny?
Well, whether or not they disclose that information, it would happen regardless. Would you rather know about something like that, or
No.
just wake up one day and it's like, oh fuck?
Wake up and just be like, fuck.
I wouldn't.
I would be fucking shit. Imagine knowing that there's like a giant evil galactic civilization of hyper violent aliens coming to Earth at any time, and now
Maybe
you're gonna.
it would get people on Earth to stop killing each other.
I would start killing people because fuck it, we're all dying anyway. So I don't think that would happen. That'd scare me. I wouldn't. Okay, you would be sleeping at night if somebody was telling you there's a fucking double scissor wielding handed alien coming to your fucking room whenever he wants.
Well,
I would be awake, shitting my pants.
I don't know. There's already bad shit out there that you sleep through.
Yeah, but this is different. These hoes is different, dude.
These aliens is different. They got scissor hands.
I wonder how they communicate. If there's aliens, how do they communicate? They can't. I don't think they do it through speech.
A lot of people say
Telepathy?
telepathic.
Hmm.
Then again, how do they know that?
Yeah, there's no.
How do you come across an alien being and figure out how to telepathically communicate with it? Unless it initiates, you just think like,
How would they communicate with humans?
I don't know.
How would we get an understanding? And like, if they were good, we might start attacking them because we don't like when we go to uncontacted tribes. They would think that we're there to kill them. Even though we're not, we're there to give them supplies and study them, give them resources.
Maybe these things have they're just so intelligent that they know why they're here. They've observed us for a long time. They kind of know what we're about. So it's not like contacting an uncontacted tribe per se, because they have no idea what the fuck is going on. If they see like a white guy roll up, they're like, what the fuck? Whereas like supposedly government has been in contact with these NHIs, and
Imagine never seeing a white person
that'd be great.
and like seeing some white dude roll up on you. I'd be like, what the fuck is that thing?
Dude, he's fucking, it's a ghost.
Bro, I bet he doesn't season his chicken. That's the first thought I would have.
I hardly season my chicken, I'm gonna be
I
honest.
bet that guy can't dance.
Yeah, he can't dance, can't cook decent food.
But well, yeah, like I think it might follow the same principle. We like to study uncontacted tribes, so they would see us in the same manner, perhaps. But then we're thinking in human terms. We always think about aliens in human terms, and we have to be careful about that.
Well, maybe it was like that at first with like Roswell, but over time, if we went back to the same tribe multiple times and brought gifts and attempted to communicate with them, and they knew that we weren't going to try and harm them, I think there'd be an understanding there.
Diana Walsh said something fascinating on the podcast that I wanted to mention about this. She said that the UFO crash sites were left there on purpose for us to discover.
Yeah, I do remember her saying
And
that. That was interesting.
it was an interesting take. I never heard that take before, but it makes sense in a way.
They said they were like care packages.
Yes.
Like,
So they were
here's
like
these
Call of Duty
things,
care
you can learn about them. But that doesn't explain why there would be bodies. Or maybe they just dumping their dead and like, oh, here's fucking Tom. He was an asshole. We sent him over there so you guys could study him.
Poor Tom.
Yeah, Tom he didn't deserve what he got.
Or did he?
He might have been an asshole alien.
Yeah. So that's a good question, the biologics aspect of it. Why would you send, if you're so intelligent, why would you send a manned craft to Earth with a crashable spacecraft? I just don't see a species that can intergalactic travel doing that. I don't think that they're manned.
That's what I think they can be manned, but I don't think they're crashing on purpose.
No, but I don't think they're crashing manned objects at all.
You think they're all like drones?
I think they're all drones. We don't send any. Well, we would if we could, so I don't want to say that. If we were able to send a manned craft to Jupiter, we probably would try it. But as of right now, we send drones to everything. Or unmanned craft.
Yeah, because we don't have the technology to do that. Well, we do, but it would take a long time.
But that would be so dangerous, though.
It would be crazy dangerous.
Even for like an alien species. If they're crashing at this rate, which seems to be fairly high, how come they never crash in like a populated city? How come it's always in a fucking desert? It's always in somewhere in the middle of fucking nowhere. Why don't they ever crash into my house? They never, that's suspicious to me. They never been caught on camera crashing. You would notice a giant fucking weird lit up space fucking thing fireballing through the air crashing into a city, but it never happens. And that's suspicious. I don't believe in UFOs now because I just said that.
I just ruined my own opinion.
That's like a genuinely solid take, I think. It never happens in populated cities. But it happens in random fucking spots that nobody sees them. That's weird. That's my thought.
Maybe supposedly because supposedly we've shot down multiple UFOs or UAPs.
Okay.
So maybe that's the reason that they're not crashing, that they're being shot down in unpopulated areas.
So then if they know this, which they would, the aliens would know this, why would they fly over unpopulated areas then? Why not just hover around major cities? And so they can avoid being shot down. Why take the risk and know you're going to get shot down potentially? For no reason. You're not studying anybody in the middle of fucking Nevada. Why would you go to the middle of the desert to study fucking people?
Maybe they're not just studying people.
They don't give a fuck about Nevada's desert.
Would you not give a fuck about an alien planet's desert?
If there was a civilization, a hyper-intelligent civilization, I would much prefer to be studying them than somebody's fucking sand.
Maybe that's not their job, their MO. Maybe their MO is to go out to the desert and examine it.
And get shot down and...
Well, not the get shot down part,
Seems
but
like that's their fucking goal because they do it all the time.
I wouldn't say all the time. Imagine all the sightings that people have versus
Improve
what crashes.
your defense systems. That's all I have to say for you. Because they suck.
Maybe they're not.
How the fuck are you intergalactically traveling and getting shot down by the United States fucking government? You suck.
Maybe they have no idea what like any of this shit is.
So then they would all be from a different. No, I think okay. Now I'm getting.
Like maybe they've never seen
aliens.
a missile. Maybe they've never seen a bullet.
But they know. Okay, so if they're sending craft and they're not coming back, then why would you keep sending craft? You know that something's happening.
To go check on the down craft.
It keeps like a recurring.
Hey, 4 of these didn't come back. Well, send another one. Let's see if he.
5 of them didn't come back. Send another.
Well, you said something earlier that we're thinking about this in the human way. You got to think outside the box here. What if they have like no empathy or anything like that? Yeah, or no ego, and they
That's
just
a big
go,
deal.
This thing's out there, didn't come back. Okay, we'll just send another one. It doesn't matter. We're all disposable anyway.
I don't want to meet them.
I'm not saying that's how it is.
I know,
but that
but
might be
now
how
you're
it
getting
is.
scared. Those aliens sound like dicks. Sounds like the government agency leaders. They have no empathy for anybody.
Oh yeah, they don't care. But
I wanted to talk about that too. Psychopathy in powerful positions. Remember I said that last week?
Yeah, how power corrupts.
Yeah. Can we talk about that? But now I don't want to because now I'm pissed about aliens.
That has nothing to do with aliens.
I know, but I'm pissed about. I just feel like being pissed about.
What I want to see something. I'm a big believer.
An alien wiener?
Not just an alien wiener.
How do they mate? Do you think they have like? Now I'm picturing 2 aliens in like a modified missionary position. What is their sex position? You think they like doggy?
They have something called like Gorgon and.
Babe, getting a Gorgon tonight. No, my hip hurt. I want to watch like an alien porn now. See what they're doing.
I'm so curious. Like if there are alien civilizations, I wonder how similar to Earth they are.
Like I think you have a point though about their lack of not just empathy but human emotion. They would be void of human emotion because they're not human. Why would they have human emotion?
But it's also weird how a lot of them are described as very similar to humans in like structure and build. Like a head, 2 arms, 2 legs, bipedal.
That's suspicious.
I'm not going to lie, it is a little suspicious.
I feel like there's such a 50-50 chance of any of this being true that it's hard for me to buy into it sometimes.
What if like the standard for intelligence is bipedal? It's like once you reach...
I get what you're saying, but that's a
huge
general
assumption. But like what if when a species on your planet becomes bipedal, it starts to gain a massive amount of intelligence?
Being bipedal for humans is a biological disadvantage. We can't run as fast. We have more spinal issues.
But it gave advantages as well.
Like what?
We were able to cool ourselves off faster. It allowed us 2 free arms for carrying things or creating weapons.
Monkeys have hands for feet. That's based. I want hands for feet.
I don't want hands for feet.
Dude, come on.
That'd be weird. I like my shoes. Imagine wearing gloves on your feet.
I want a mechanic gloves. Work on a car. Imagine that'd be awesome. No, I want hands for feet. Well, okay, so I'm torn on the alien thing the more I think about it. But then at the same time, if the universe is as massive as we are told it is, that's just as bizarre. We're such an anomaly. That's scary as well.
I don't buy into that for a second.
I don't
even
really
if it's
either.
not intelligent life, I think there's 100% other life
biological
out there.
organisms.
Yeah, there's something.
There has to be. And if there's biological organisms, somehow, somewhere, they've had to evolve into intelligence like we did.
Maybe they just haven't yet. It took us billions of years.
But the Earth had only been around for how many billion years has the Earth been around? How many billions of years has the Earth been stable enough for a biological organism? It hasn't been that long. And the universe.
I don't even know if it's been a billion years. I don't know.
So the universe right now we think is 26.7 billion years, up from 14.7 billion, thanks to the James Webb Space Telescope and other studies. So what if these planets were stable 8 billion years ago?
They might have already died out.
That's what I'm saying.
That's supposed. Well, Mars had water on it. It had an atmosphere.
Ooh, what if you dig on Mars and find... No, we have dug on Mars.
What if we dug further on Mars?
Mm.
Imagine... Well, look now at when we find fossils, how deep they are. And that was millions of years ago. What if you go back billions of years? How much more sediment and bullshit has been piled on top of whatever remains might be on Mars?
Mars was a stable atmosphere at one point, I believe.
Yeah, they had water. Probably.
Is there water different molecularly?
I don't know. I think it's all trapped in ice right now. So technically, there's still water on Mars.
Water. Imagine drinking Mars water.
I can't wait till Nestle bottles it and sells it on Earth.
Fuck Nestle.
You can buy Mars water instead of Fiji water.
That'd be so expensive. That'd be like $12 a bottle. There's water on Amazon that's like $97.
What the fuck kind of water is that?
Amazon water. Like, actually, I think it's from the Amazon. Like, river.
I don't want to drink Amazon water. Not because, like, ew, that's gross, but because why the fuck are we bottling water in the Amazon?
Yeah, that's fucked up. No, I can't find it. It was on a Good Mythical Morning episode.
That's too expensive for water.
Yeah.
$97, my ass.
No, I can't find it.
Is it boxed? Is it in a glass?
It is in a glass on the episode. I'd have to go find that in the episode. But, yeah, imagine Mars water. I bet that would be bussin'.
Probably hit different.
Imagine the Mars water at 3 a.m. with like a dry room.
You wake up, you're like, oh, you're groggy, and you get out some Mars water that's been sitting on your nightstand for a few hours.
While drinking this.
That's probably some pure ass water.
I'd be moaning. People would be wondering what the fuck's going on.
I'd be sad when I ran out of Mars water.
Mom, I'm drinking Mars water. Okay. Whatever you said.
That shit is pure.
I don't know. I want to believe in aliens, but I'm 50-50 on it. Because you have the Fermi paradox. And then, okay. If there aren't aliens, I would be a little bit depressed. I ain't gonna cap.
I'd be very depressed.
Yeah.
I'd feel lonely. Even though there's 8 billion people on Earth, I'd feel fucking lonely.
That's nothing in the grand scheme of things.
No, that's nothing.
Okay, so something that humans think about but are unable to comprehend, myself included, that is kind of like an existential crisis motivator, is how significantly, how do I even word this? How infinitesimally small that we are. Like we are not even like a speck of dust.
There is actually, I think, a term for that. Supposedly it happens to astronauts their first time they go out into space and look back at the Earth. I cannot remember what it's called.
Imagine that.
It's like a phenomenon amongst astronauts.
See that picture of the astronaut floating in like the middle of space with no tethers?
Huh.
So
Dude, that would be nutty.
he relied on a propelled.
Astronaut looking
You had to have seen this image.
Earth phenomenon. It's called the overview effect. It's like, oh yeah, I've seen that. Homeboy's just Jay chilling in space.
Funny bone.
I'm fucking idiot.
I got TV static in my heart. All right, keep going.
All right, the overview effect is a cognitive shift reported by some astronauts while viewing the Earth from space. Researchers have characterized the effects as a state of awe with self-transcendent qualities precipitated by a particularly striking visual stimulus. That was a mouthful.
Yeah, that I watched like the first 5 words.
I'll explain like I'm 5. Basically, when you look back at the Earth, you're like, oh shit.
That's that.
That's where I came from.
Hey guys.
That's where everything I know as a human being has ever existed, pretty much. And I'm out here, and it's over there.
Being alive is so incomprehensible. Being a human being. I think that limits us. Our ability to comprehend is a massive, like, what do they call it? So what is the great filter? You ever hear that?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a part of like a filter that we have. Our inability to comprehend things. We just can't do it. And that's so like limiting to what we can do. You know what I mean? I don't know how to elaborate on that.
I know what you mean. Like, we can't, when someone says, imagine all the planets in the universe or how big the universe is, you think like it starts on Earth.
Hey, what do you picture when somebody says that? I want you to go through.
So you start on Earth, you zoom out, and there's our solar system. You zoom out, and there's our galaxy. You zoom out, and there's more galaxies. You zoom out, and there's even more galaxies inside of like another giant galaxy.
So in your head, are they close together?
Close?
Like, so when you picture that, do you see everything at once and it seems like it's relatively close together?
Yeah.
So it's like incomprehensible to.
Yeah, and then you just keep going. Actually, someone mentioned multiple times how humans and the universe are both kind of fractals. Like, the neurons in the brain are, I think, fractal. So it's like if you zoom in far enough, it'll look exactly the same. If you zoom out far enough, it'll look exactly the same.
You see that image before?
Yeah.
That's so fascinating.
It's crazy. And the universe is the same way.
That's something that I want to know more about, but there's no way to get more information on that. But the neurons. So okay, what he's saying is that when you look at the universe as a whole, and then you look at a picture of neurons microscopically, it
looks like a universe.
The same.
Yeah.
I want to see that now. I've seen that before.
That's like gotta mean something, right?
Yes.
There's no way that's just a little coincidence.
It's like a feeling that you have. You don't know how to explain it or like what it means, but you feel it.
Like, it feels like an answer. When
I
people
know.
say, what is the answer to the universe? Like, maybe it's fractal. And who knows what kind of significance
there's no chance.
Let me see that shit. It's just so strikingly similar.
We don't have Jamie here.
I mean, I could edit it in, but there it is. You gotta zoom out. There we go. Get it in focus.
That is
Bottom one's neurons.
neurons, and that's the universe mapped out. That's so fascinating to me.
It is fascinating.
But I've never known how to like talk about that or explain that because it's just like a feeling, and not. I don't know. It's weird.
It's incomprehensible.
What is that? Okay, we're gonna be totally off the wall here. What's your theory on that one? What do you believe about that one? If you had to take a wild guess, throw a dart, and
I don't even know where to begin. It was kind of what I was saying earlier with it being like the answer to the universe, but I don't even know what the question is.
ooh, that's philosophical.
I know. They call
Dude,
me
we
out.
gotta write that down.
I know. I should publish that.
Say that again.
Well, we got it on
I didn't know
recording. We
you
got
said.
it
I
recording
can't
at
repeat it.
1 minute 16 or 1 hour 16 minutes.
That shit slapped, didn't it?
Yeah, it hit a little different.
Damn, you got me in my feelings.
I know.
Okay, so if I had to guess, just being an idiot human, does the universe reside inside of our brain, or does our brain reside inside of the universe? Like, is it a question of is the universe fundamental to consciousness, or is consciousness fundamental to the universe? It's similar.
So that's a human brain, right? Human neurons.
Yep.
Have we looked at animal neurons?
I'm assuming it would be the same. I don't think there's a difference. That's a good. I mean, it's a good question, but I would assume that there's no difference.
It makes me wonder, because everyone talks about humans being cognitive and having a conscious.
Yeah, they all look the same. They're just different complexities.
Okay, so they're all like stems, branch, or like tree roots. Tree roots are another one. Like this thing that gives this tree life, it allows it to get nutrients, extends into the ground to gather.
And mushrooms.
Mushrooms as well.
Their intersection.
It's crazy.
It's all similar. Everything connects.
A lot of coincidences.
When you do psychedelics, you get that feeling and you understand it, but you can't explain it. Everything is one and it all connects. I promise. That's why you hear that so often. It's so real. You need to attempt a certain psychedelic eventually. You never have.
No, I haven't.
You can't. Nobody can explain it to you because it's alien. No pun intended. It's an alien feeling that cannot be explained. You can only be kind of given an idea of what it feels like. It's a feeling more than it is. It's an experience more than it is a feeling. It's so bizarre. Depending
I'm very curious about it.
And there's no psilocybin. There's no known fatalities from psilocybin. There's fatalities from people taking the wrong mushroom and dying.
Eating random ass mushrooms they find on the ground.
Yeah, but you're not going to die from psilocybin. It's just not going to happen. Lion's mane, penis envy is a very popular one. Kind of a sus name.
I've heard about it.
Looks like a wiener. Yeah, you need to have an experience. You have to. Your life will change. I promise.
Yeah, I'm kind of afraid of that. What if I stop liking anime?
I'm gonna order you some right now.
Bro, really? What if I did? Like,
I don't think you would stop liking it. You might. Okay, so you might take certain things less seriously, maybe. But I wouldn't think you would stop.
I don't even know what I take seriously now.
You take your fitness seriously?
Well, I don't want to stop being fit.
I don't think you would.
I want to turn into a...
You're not going to lose your discipline. You're going to, if I could put words on it, maybe you'll have an understanding of things that you don't right now, I guess.
Most things.
I mean,
Most things I don't understand.
Well, but that's individual. Like what? So you have answers to things that only you want to know the answer to. Like maybe it's something you're going through, or something you wanted to know, or just, you know what I mean. You get a perspective on that, I guess. Like a perspective that is personal to the individual user, which is beneficial.
I can see how it would be. Everyone says they have crazy experiences on it. Not like, oh, there's fucking crazy people running on the walls and monsters, but a more philosophical experience where they realize, like, hey, this thing either isn't that big of a deal, or there's more to this than me being stressed about X thing.
It can totally increase your empathy as well. 100%.
You could use some.
I was so yeah, totally. I think that everybody could be more empathetic. That's fucked up.
You say you're unempathetic.
No.
Inempathetic.
I used to be so unempathetic when I was a teenager, and I know that a lot of teenagers.
You say, "Oh, I'm an angsty
Angst,
teenager."
but I mean, like I had there was nothing there. I didn't feel bad about doing people wrong or making them feel like shit. I would go out of my way to ruin somebody's day, and I didn't feel anything for it. Nothing. There was no. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I felt guilt, but it wasn't like it's hard to explain. Like I didn't feel bad. I felt some guilt, I would say, but I never felt like, man, I need to stop. I never said to myself like, man, I probably shouldn't manipulate this person and say this horrible thing to ruin their day. I had experiences with. I didn't want to be like that. Like I had experiences with psychedelics. Swear to God, it flipped a switch, and I started to empathize with people.
So you're more empathetic now?
100%. Although I'm still not the most empathetic individual. I very much love my dog. I very much love my family.
I'd take a bullet for my dog.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm very much empathetic now. Like if something happens. Okay, so I think you are in the same boat as me. If we're not affiliated with the individual, we don't really have feelings for what happens to them. Like say some random, like we talk about this. I don't want to say that one. That was fucked up. All right, so say somebody you didn't know died in a car accident. You can't really feel empathy for them. Like you can say like, man, that sucks. Like I feel bad, but do you actually feel like shit from it?
Probably not. Like if I drove past a real bad car accident and you can clearly see people died in it, chances are I'd be like, holy shit, that's crazy.
But you wouldn't.
And then get on with my day.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's not. I don't think that that's conventionally normal for people. I think most people, that's like a PTSD inducing event. Like for me, that's the same thing. Like I would want to help them. I would totally be influenced to help them, but I would not. It wouldn't like ruin my week or my I wouldn't think about it and like cry, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But if I know them or I have emotion attached to them, like a coworker for God's sakes, that like I'm affiliated with, acquainted with, like that would affect me, I think. But not like when that guy that we work with in maintenance died.
Yeah.
Like that, I felt like shit like that.
Yeah.
I felt genuinely like bad, like damn, that was a nice guy. Like that hurts.
Maybe it's because you do have a connection to him.
Yeah, so whatever I'm connected to, I feel something for. But if I'm not, nothing. There's no. I can't. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but there's no like malintent in my head. I just can't empathize sometimes.
Yeah, some people get like really worked up about it. If they see like a natural disaster, they're like, oh, I was crying. Or a good example I see fairly often is when there's a school shooting.
100%.
People say in comment sections, oh, I was crying my eyes out, or something along those lines. Of course, like I don't want that to happen. I'm like that sucks. Like that shouldn't be happening.
Can I give an example real quick?
Yeah.
The Sandy Hook shooting, my mother, who was extremely empathetic, was genuinely depressed for like a week, like a different person. Like it shook her to her core. Go on.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at is, and I'm assuming you were probably like, oh, like that's not great.
That
and
sucks.
then
I didn't feel good.
And then like the next day, it's kind of like it didn't happen, doesn't exist.
Like I just I don't think about it. I don't think is that normal? Like people will call you an asshole for that. I think, and I'm not going out of my way to do that. It's just
you're not trying to look at it as, well, that just happens.
I don't feel good about it. When I was younger, when I was like maybe 13, if something bad happened to somebody I didn't know, I would almost say that I felt good about it because it happened to them and not me, and I hated everything at that time.
The better you than me.
Yeah, in a way, like, haha, your life sucks worse than mine. Like, I almost felt like, not a joy out of it, but like, like maybe this ain't so bad. Like, it would make me feel like reassured, I guess. It's weird. That's boring.
Maybe that is a way of empathy. Empathy, maybe it can present itself in different ways. And for you, it doesn't sound like it can, because when you think of the word empathetic, you think, I feel bad for this thing happening in these people. But maybe for you, it's you're empathetic that it did not affect you and you can maintain the status quo in your life.
Which I think can be beneficial as well.
I think it can too.
Because things don't bother you like they would other people maybe.
Right, because it's not beneficial to you to shut down for a week over something that realistically doesn't affect you.
And I remember saying that to people that were affected by stuff like you're making your day worse, and that's not going to help anything.
Right, like the best thing to do is get on. The world doesn't stop spinning if bad shit happens. Time's going to move either way.
Our problem, and I think you're including this, is that we think too logically, and that bites us in the ass. People don't want logical answers. People want to vent. If somebody vents to you, you want to give them an answer, like me. Like, hey, you could help yourself like this.
I see that a lot. People say, like, that's most guys in general. They say when a girl vents, they're not looking for an answer. They're just looking to vent.
But I want to help them and give them an answer.
And that's the problem.
Some guys don't, though. Some guys just listen and be like, yeah, babe, man, I'm sorry. That X and O, whatever fucking did this at work. Like, man, that sucks.
Right.
No,
like, you want to solve it. If there's a persisting problem, you think, well, you can solve it by doing X.
Yeah. And that's been a problem in my past relationships. Like, they would get frustrated. I'm just like, I'm doing what I feel is right.
That's when you got to flip the personality switch.
You got a code switch?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
You have to change into what somebody wants out of you versus
I don't like
what you
that.
actually think. You
That
don't like the
makes
code
me unhappy.
switching?
No. It makes me genuinely unhappy. When I know I'm doing it, I don't like myself.
Is it just in those situations? Like, I notice with me, if I'm in a certain like group of friends, that I will switch. Like, I'll act one way with this group, one way with this group, one way with this group, or around certain people. Would that bother you?
I'm self-aware when I do it.
So
I'll still do it,
does
but I'm
it
aware of it.
present a problem of not knowing where you actually lie on like a spectrum of
Autism?
no,
Because I'm pretty far on the autism. I'm acoustic.
But with people, like, are you your true self in which group, or are you your true self when you're by yourself? Like, where are you actually, Kyle?
I think that most people are themselves when they're by themselves. Like, we have 3 lives that we live. We have the lives that we live with our families, our friends, and alone. And they're all different for most people.
It's like, then what is the real you then?
When you're by yourself, in my opinion.
What if you're not by yourself that often and you're around family more? Are you the real you when you're with family?
I don't think so.
You just think it's all by yourself?
If I had to, yeah. I would say your deepest self comes out when you are alone, in my opinion. Because you can say and do things that you wouldn't do. You have a certain order of conduct. You're not going to start singing in the middle of a family reunion or dancing or doing something that you enjoy doing that's like considered, I don't know, embarrassing. Like, most people wouldn't do that. You have to be a psychopath. I know, like, fucking, I gotta talk about this. So, when I was at my family member's birthday party and there was weird girls were there, and there was a religious one with a religious boyfriend, and they both started singing to each other.
That's weird.
You're a fucking psychopath. I don't trust you. I don't trust you if you're doing this. And you're making like those TikToks where you're putting flowers and petals and like leading into the room and like chocolates on the bed and singing to her. Bruno Mars. You gotta go. Like, I don't trust that person. Like, there's something like you're virtue signaling, and
that has to be an act.
That's what I'm saying. But they present it as not. So what I'm trying to tie that into is that they're not being themselves. Like, they're code switching and they're doing it so far on a spectrum that it turns me off and like I don't trust you. I can't trust you.
Basically, like they're lying to you when they meet you.
Yeah, like everything's a lie. Like, you can't trust what they say or do. I try to be authentic and just say what I feel and do what I feel when I'm in different groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
But I totally will still find myself in like a mode of like, I don't know, like if our boss walks up to us, I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, bro, you fucking locked in today? What's like popping, dog? Like, shit, man, you want to hear the joke?" Like, you code switch. You have to code switch to get along in this world, but you can limit it. Like, I don't think I'm different with you than I am with like Mitchell. I try to be the same person.
Yeah.
I feel like I am. I don't really even try. I don't think about it ever. Even with like Tim and all them. Like I'm not in my head about it. I'm just chilling.
You're just being Kyle.
Yeah. Which I find to be when I'm at my happiest.
Versus when you're alone and being Kyle?
When I'm with people and being somebody else, a modified version. Trying to appeal to what their interests and likes are. Like on a first date. I hate first dates.
They suck. They're not fun.
The only way that I can get into a relationship is by being friends with the person beforehand. Like genuine friends. I will not, I never have jumped right into a relationship with somebody I met off of an online service or just starting out as a romantic interest.
It's always like dancing around, not trying to make the wrong move.
Yeah.
You're like walking on eggshells the entire time.
Which it
sucks.
It turns me off, like emotionally. And I don't want to even be there at that point. Because I'm being a totally, like everything that, okay, so when they're saying something, we might be abnormal here, but this is just how I am. Like when somebody's saying something that is like, I don't know, somebody I'm uncomfortable with that I met for the first time that I'm in a romantic situation with, everything they're saying, I'm analyzing and I'm thinking about like what I probably shouldn't say. Like I'm learning about them on the go as quickly as I can. Like, okay, you have colored hair, piercings, you're probably leaning this way. I'm going to avoid bringing up X topic because I know you're going to react negatively to this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I hate that.
That presents itself as like an issue, though. Because the more comfortable you get with people, the more you're going to let those things slip, most likely.
But I feel like it's more forgiving. Because I've had exes or I've even had like girlfriends that like I've gotten close with and said something that they didn't agree with and they had a rebuttal and it was a healthy discussion instead of a I hate you, you fucking moron, retard, like doo-doo head, poopy butt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, on a first date, you like, I think people are looking for mild perfection.
Yeah. I hate them. I want to shake them like, fuck, be yourself. Like, stop. But they're doing the same thing. It's just normal. I mean, it's just human behavior. I just sometimes I get frustrated with natural human behavior. Like, why can't it be this way?
No, why do you have to put on
A show.
a facade?
Charade. Yeah. It's bullshit. But if you are genuinely yourself, your dating pool is going to shrink
You're going to
massively.
lose. Yeah, you're going to lose most of the time.
So do you think that pertains to why so many relationships fail? They start out as not really good matches?
Probably, because you think you're a great match right off the bat, and then both of you start opening up more, you get more comfortable, and you're like, oh, they're showing who they really are now.
I don't like this.
Yeah, so you dip.
Or you stick together and get more and more hateful toward each other, and then that becomes an abusive
a bad thing too.
Yeah, mentally or physically abusive relationship, or toxic. And there's so many of those. But then you have children.
And yeah, you're trapped. There's nothing, you can't do shit at that point.
I don't want kids.
I do not either. I think more people should not have kids.
Why do you think that we're in such the minority in that? Because I'm so firmly like in that mindset, and I think you are too. Why? Like we see so clearly, in my opinion, why that's a bad idea. Why do so many people not?
Probably because, like, at the end of the day, humans are still animals, and the natural instinct for animals is to reproduce.
But we're
and just
animals.
carry
We're
on.
still humans.
Maybe we're the weird ones.
Why?
I don't know. But I mean, the things that I see, I think that I don't want kids is more in the fact of I'm selfish as fuck.
Yeah, we're selfish.
Yeah, I don't want to have to
Care for something.
care for it. The monetary aspect of it, I'm like, I can have so much more money.
The responsibility.
The responsibility.
You're tied down.
That is
Shared custody if it doesn't work out.
a huge portion of your life where someone is 100% dependent on you, whether they live or die. And the repercussions of you failing mean your life is over, pretty much.
And so many people have children before they know who they are themselves. and they never learn because now they're dedicating their life to a child.
Yeah, and then the kid grows up really fucked up and probably goes down that same path.
What a shit show.
It is.
I think more people are coming to this realization, but this is also an extremely dangerous belief that, you know what I mean? If more humans adopted our belief system, our species would fail.
Over a long period of time.
If everybody on Earth stopped having kids today, within 100 years, there would be no humans. 120.
Yeah.
That's scary.
But I don't think most people are like that. I think...
That means we're broken.
Maybe.
Something's wrong.
Might be fucked up.
Something's wrong.
But I think the population is growing very fast. And
but we could sustain so many. There's a myth that we're overpopulated. That's a myth.
what is like, have they looked into like how many people the Earth could sustain for how long? Do those exist?
I think so. And it's way more than what we say it is, or think it is.
I'm curious, at what cost is that? Like, how much deforestation, what kind of natural resources would be depleted when?
I'm not really getting a clear answer. I'm getting between 2 billion and like 12 billion. And everything says something different.
That's probably a hard one. But someone somewhere had to have run the numbers.
The ideal population is 2 to 3 billion.
We are exceeding that.
I bet there's an
Crazy.
elitist plan to depopulate.
A lot of people talk about
I
it.
totally believe this.
What do you think they could gain from depopulation?
More power, like more ability to control. I think that control is a massive influencer.
Yeah, I guess having less people limits the pool of individuals who think outside the box and are like, hey, this is kind of weird.
And it's less people to worry about.
Yeah.
Less people to control. So more power. Money would mean more for them so they could have more things. Just power, I think. I think that's really it. You just have more control. Less people. More. If you had 100 people, it'd be easier to control than 100,000.
Yeah.
So that's the mindset. And I think that they're realizing that it might be unsustainable at a certain point right now. And they want more for themselves and less for you and I.
I wonder how many people are in the boat of, like, no, I don't want kids. I would never have kids.
Jamie, pull that up.
I really don't think it's that big of a number.
I'm going to take a guess. 28%.
That's a big number.
I bet it's bigger than you think it is. 20%.
20%?
1 in 5 adults.
That's a lot.
This is a recent study, I guess. So that's what it's 20%, and that's growing, like, quickly. If you asked that question and polled in the 30s, I bet it would be.
Bro, everyone wanted kids.
Yeah, like it would be 90% and up. So if it increased that much that quickly, China's facing a serious population crisis.
Japan's facing a huge
Japan's
population
facing a huge
crisis.
population crisis. I learned something about Japan today. It's really fascinating. What the fuck was it? Japan has the most snow of any country on Earth.
Yeah, it's in
I didn't know that.
northeastern side on the Sea of Japan. Aomori, I think, is the city.
So it's a specific sector of Japan. Because when I think of Japan, I don't think of snow ever.
Typically, no. It's northern Japan gets the snow. It's low-key like the U.S. in its terms of seasons.
You're the Japanese guy.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Japan. Like Hokkaido is the big island in the north. They get a lot of snow. And Aomori is actually on Honshu, which is the main island. I think it's Honshu. I want to say it's Honshu, but it's the winds from Siberia come over the mountains and drive all that down into Japan, and that's where it hits in that Aomori area. And
So-
they get a metric fuck ton of snow,
Like feet. How many feet?
like 13 feet,
Ooh.
like insane numbers.
If I had a foot fetish, I'd be bricked up.
It's it'd be an odd number of feet, so it's only not even
Like
7 pairs
One
of
and a
feet.
half people. You still plan on, like, what's your Japan plan now? I'm curious. Because remember you had like a plan. Do you still have a Japan plan? That sounds fun.
Plan in terms of just visit
Japan
or
plan. Well, you wanted to like move there and work.
oh yeah.
Like, what's your plan?
I still want to. They actually just passed a new visa, or they're working on a new visa.
They
for
better hurry up.
digital nomad visa. That's the thing. They mull so bad over shit. So bureaucratic. But their digital nomad visa is currently in the works. It is a useless visa. It's fucking stupid. It only limits you to 6 months of living in Japan. You have to make, I think, like $68,000 or $85,000 to qualify for it. Like I said, 6 months, and then I don't know if you can even renew that visa. You have to leave the country for like another 6 months, and then you can reapply for the visa again.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid. I think it's because
So you lose your Japanese job or whoever you're working for 6 months.
you wouldn't work in Japan. You would be working for I would be working for a U.S. company living in Japan. I would just be a digital nomad.
So can Japanese apply for American computer programming jobs and get them from another country?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. A degree makes it easier, but you can definitely do that. A lot of people do the digital nomad thing.
Have you been applying in Japan?
No. There's no way in hell I would get one. I don't have a degree. You need a degree for everything.
You just have to wait for the right time. It's all timing.
It
It's all luck. Things are luck.
It is all luck.
That's
Another visa that I would be interested in getting is a business visa in Japan. Like you can start a business. I think you need like $50,000, and then you can open a business in Japan.
So you need 50 grand? You can get a business loan.
Yeah, you could. I don't know if I'd want to take out a loan though. I'd prefer to save it, just have it on tap.
Yeah, but you'd be paying some exorbitant interest.
On the interest loan?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I wouldn't get the loan. I would just save that money, bank it.
Okay, what about, I've always wondered, like, to you, because you like Japan a lot, and I'm more on the fence about it, although I think it's beautiful and I'd like to travel there. I would not want to live there. What benefits does it bring to you that the United States doesn't? Like, why do you want to live there over the United States?
I just enjoy my time there. Like when I go out here,
Do you enjoy visiting there, or would you actually enjoy living there, do you think?
I can't say for certain because I've never lived there. So maybe I'll get there in a year and I'll be like, man, this kind of sucks.
Because I'm worried. I'm worried about you.
It's not like there is
people.
no plan B. It's not like I'm not revoking my U.S. citizenship. I can always come back. But when I go out here, I'm constantly thinking like, okay, I better lock my car.
So it's a safety.
The safety's one of them. I'm the bad guy over there. Nobody wants to fuck with the foreigner with tattoos. I'm the scary man.
That's gonna make you upset and depressed if you
No,
get shunned by. Not shunned, but you get
there are restrictions
judged.
that I have, like
or gyms.
gyms. I mean, I would just have to cover up. Depends on the thing. So, but I've talked to plenty of people over there. I've made friends over there. It's not like it's impossible.
A lot of Americans are miserable that live there. I see so many. That's what I'm worried about. Is that
A lot of them go in with the Japan is the greatest place ever. Everywhere is a cherry blossom tree. Let me go to the castle and go pray at the
live
shrine.
in anime world?
Yeah, they live in anime world, and you really have to go into that. And this goes for any country that you want to move to. I know a lot of people
I'd like to
talk
move like
about
Denmark. Really.
You have to bring the realism into it.
Where's Japan on the happiness index scale?
I have no idea.
That's going to give you like your most accurate representation, in my opinion, of any country. That's why I say Denmark.
But the happiness index scale is low-key different for, I think, expats who would want to move there. Because if I wanted to live in Japan and say I wanted to work in an office and a working culture, I wouldn't be expected to follow the same rules as a Japanese employee. Like work overtime or follow certain customs.
And work, I think, is the number one reason why people don't like Japan.
That's a big reason why their population is fucking declining.
So the top in order: Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Israel, Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, Switzerland, Luxembourg, and New Zealand are the happiest countries in the world.
I don't think I'd want to live in Finland. Too cold.
Yeah, but They get so many things. Okay, so here we go. United States is 15. Japan is 47.
Pretty far down.
It's below like Kazakhstan, Poland, which is full of broke people. Slovenia, France, United Kingdom. That's what concerns me sometimes about Japan in general. That's like to me, I know that is like such a specific thing, but that's the only reason that people would want to go somewhere to be happy, and they're so low on that rating. That concerns me. I guess
For me, it's not like a term of I'm unhappy in the U.S. I'm going to go to Japan to find my happiness. That's totally not it. I don't mind it here. It's not like the worst thing in the world. I could be a lot worse off.
Yeah,
I could be born like literally anywhere else.
I thought about this the other day. Like, what's the worst place to be born? North Korea.
North Korea would suck.
Has to be North Korea.
Yeah, like I could be born in North Korea. That would blow. But I don't go to Japan to be like, oh, this is home.
Yeah.
This is
I'm not
where
like shitting on you.
I
like to present like the pros and cons, I guess, of it, because it might be hard to notice the cons from an individual perspective. Me personally, I would start missing my friends, my family, the comfort of home, things like that, I guess.
I think the comfort of home can be fulfilled. Like, if you have your own place and you fill it with your own things, that's extremely comforting. But family and friends, definitely. Even when I was over there by myself, like, friends would get on games, and, like, I can't do that.
Damn.
You
can't play Euro Truck Simulator with your dogs.
Yeah.
Fuck Japan.
I mean, I could. I would just be in a different time zone. I'd have to play really early in the morning.
You need to get you a Japanese thought.
Yeah.
That's the only solution.
It is the only solution.
But they actually have to be attractive ones. Like 10 out of 10s.
11 out of 10.
Yeah.
My standards are above.
Well, the Japanese, man, some of them are so pretty. A lot of Asian girls are so pretty. Because they just have very, like, feminine features. I think that's their claim to fame.
It's kind of a funny thing. A lot of guys will have, like, Asian fetishes because they're like, Asian women are so obedient. That's like a big thing.
You sound like a nutcase when you say that.
Yeah, it sounds weird as fuck.
I just think they look feminine.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Make me my fucking noodle soup, bitch.
They're like, well, I get home from work, I expect a hot meal and a running bath.
Nah. Unless you're working full time and paying for everything, and like, you shouldn't expect that. I think if your girlfriend or wife expects you to pay for everything and do the working only you're the one that's working, then she should cook you meals and clean the house while you're not there.
Sure, and like the same works vice versa.
Yeah.
If she's working, you should do housework. And
if you are living off of a woman, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You're not a man.
Yeah, you're not a real man.
No, you're not. You're fucking. I'm serious. That's like disgraceful.
Not the breadwinner.
Yeah, that's like shameful. Like I would feel so like insecure and like not like I don't know. I just wouldn't feel like a man, which I'm a man, so I
wouldn't feel insecure. I'd think if I was doing my fair share of the work.
Yeah, then it's different if you're busting your ass trying to be successful.
Well, if there's like an equilibrium, like say you're a stay-at-home dad and your wife makes the money. I think that's like the same.
It's demasculating. Like, not that it's wrong, but it just, you can't escape the demasculization of that.
I think certain people can. I think if you
well,
have
then
the
they're
mindset
fucking, they like to get their balls stepped on then.
Some people do.
It's gross.
I think you have you have a toxic idea of masculinity.
Not really.
It sounds like
I have a traditional idea of masculinity.
I don't like traditionalism because traditionalism breeds tribalism. Tribalism breeds not progress.
Yeah, but we're way more depressed as a planet. And I think that part of that is because we're trying to get away from our norms. Go back to what we're hardwired to be, and we would be happy. Cavemen didn't go to the psychiatrist because they were depressed and get evaluated as...
Well, also cavemen didn't have psychiatrists or weren't able
they
to
wouldn't
get
go if they had them.
Like, I guarantee there were a lot of fucking cavemen who were probably depressed.
If they weren't out there slaying coochie and killing fucking tigers.
I don't know if they're slaying coochie.
If they weren't fucking and reproducing and they weren't killing and providing, then I would be a depressed caveman. Because that's their job. mate, reproduce, and provide. Men should provide. I don't want to sound like that's toxic.
That sounds toxic.
Men should provide because it would make them happier. Let me rephrase it. Not that men should provide and that's it. Period.
Well, providing can be multiple different things. It doesn't have to be monetary.
But it's the monetary stands for status. It's a status thing. If you bring in the monetary value, you can provide the shelter, the food. That's what that means.
Well,
money
you have to upkeep the shelter. If you have a kid, you have to raise the kid.
Females should raise a child. Female can raise children way better than males can. Studies have shown like that children raised by women fare better than when they're raised by males alone, because they are the ones that they have the maternal instinct.
I think it totally depends on the parent.
It can, but the majority.
I think both being there is obviously the best outcome.
100%.
But I don't think. I mean, women have more maternal instincts for sure.
They can care for the child in a different way, an emotional way that the male can't.
I think males are capable of that.
Capable, but they're not as naturally gifted at it, I'd say. I'm not saying that like that's like an actual reason. Like it's not like hey, maybe this is why. Like that's actually. They don't have. Mothers are supposed to raise the child. Fathers are supposed to go out and provide for the child and the mother. They're supposed to be out there hunting.
What about like lions?
The male lion's supposed to be out there hunting.
No, male lions do not hunt. The lioness hunts.
And that's specific to that animal. I didn't know that. Why?
Because lions are based.
So the male lion raises the child?
Yeah. The male lion stays. He does not hunt. The lioness is the killer of the group. She's a badass.
You fucking with me?
No. Lionesses are the fucking hosses.
You're lying.
No, the male
To date,
lion.
the male lion ecology with high buffalo, male lions were frequent and successful hunters. Most nature documentaries show male African lions. Okay, so you are technically right. As layabouts who prefer to let the females do the hunting.
It's not that males can't hunt.
They just don't want to. Then they're lazy.
A pack of lionesses is probably more efficient than a single male lion.
That's fascinating. Okay, but that's lions. Like the male seahorses give birth?
Yeah.
You can just male and female humans through history and study have certain roles they should play. Or they won't. I'm not saying that they have to. I'm just saying that you're probably going to be less depressed if you play the roles that you're hardwired to play. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying like the man should be out there fucking doing this. He would be better off mentally.
I don't know if he would, though.
He would be.
What if your job as the male sucks and you hate work every day and your wife gets a job and she fucking loves it and you get to quit your job?
It would take a very specific relationship. I'm not saying that this is impossible, but I believe that in the majority of the case, the female would lose respect for the male and divorce them or break up with them or not have an emotional attachment or sexual attraction.
That kind of ties into what we were talking about a few episodes ago of showing emotions. Mm-hmm. It shows weakness.
You have to be careful showing emotions to women. It's not because women suck, it's just how they're hardwired. You can't, if you cry in front of a woman, you're showing weakness, and that is undesirable traits.
Well, I don't think just providing the monetary value is like the strong thing. I think you can be strong and be the stay-at-home figure. I don't think that necessarily says you're weak. If you do a good job at it and shit is spick and span and perfect, I don't think that shows weakness. Shame
on you as a man. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that you're technically wrong. I'm just saying, like, in my head, that's demasculating. I would feel... How could you not feel... Not like a failure.
You're still doing a job.
But you're not providing.
You are providing. You are 100% providing.
You're not... Okay, so if the female quits... If the female gets fired, you can't... How are you going to maintain your shelter and your food supply?
What if the male gets fired?
But this is not the scenario we're talking about. We're talking about the female has a job, the male does not. Now the female gets fired. If you can't provide, if your family can't eat now because your wife got fired from her job, you're gonna feel like shit. Like, why didn't I bring in some money? I could have saved us. I could have helped us.
I'm sure she's probably thinking the same
If your
thing.
family dies from starvation, she's probably thinking, "You fucking lazy cuck, get up and get to work." Guarantee it. I'm not fucking you. That's what she's thinking. You piece of shit. I don't want my fucking children to have genetics where they want to stay at home and mooch off the woman and make some fucking fold some towels and wash some dishes. Fuck you, you cuck. You fucking I don't know.
You lazy ass piece
You
of
lazy
shit.
ass piece of shit. I'm not saying that, like, I want to reiterate that it's necessarily the wrong thing to do. I just think that we are wired. We're humans. We're mammals. We're all wired to respond with pleasure chemicals, oxytocin, serotonin,
Dopamine.
dopamine.
Before you do that, I have to piss so bad.
Go pee.
I'm going.
Where were we? What were we arguing about?
Something about fucking dudes and chicks not being dudes and chicks.
Yeah. Yeah, dudes be dudes, chicks be chicks. That's such a conservative sounding.
Dudes and chicks. They're just dude. Dude has to be a dude.
Yeah.
Chick has to be a chick.
I don't like how that's presented. I don't like how I'm presenting this
I don't-
either.
I don't think you're presenting in a bad way per se, because it's not like you're saying women have to stay at home and take care of the kids and cook food, and men
do whatever
have
you
to.
want.
Yours is just along the lines of
Happiness.
yeah.
Satisfaction. Life
Yes.
satisfaction.
It's not. I don't think it's tradition oriented. It is mentally oriented.
It's limbic system oriented, if we want to get scientific.
I don't know that.
Limbic system is like where all your primitive DNA comes out. That's what that is.
Interesting.
So, like, I don't know, if your limbic system isn't acting how it's supposed to act, you're going to feel a little, you're not going to be secreting the proper hormones. Your testosterone will be low because as a male, you're supposed to be motivated and getting shit done, and you're not. So your hormones will be affected. Your endocrine system will be off because it's not natural.
I don't know any of that shit.
Endocrine is your hormones. Like, whenever somebody says, like, your endocrine system, they mean hormonal.
All right.
So, like, if you're a male, your testosterone can 100% be affected by your lifestyle, obviously.
Like eating dog shit food, sitting on the couch.
Processed food, being sedentary, not exercising, so many things. Just being a couch potato. So, like, and then having, like, a lack of drive. I don't know. So I feel like,
Does a lack of drive stem from low testosterone?
yes.
So it starts with.
I know a lot about this. I don't want to be cocky, but, like, I've been so fascinated by hormones for so long that I've learned so much about this. Yes.
So it starts with what you eat. You know, go put on my tinfoil hat.
Potentially.
Put on my tinfoil hat.
I know where you're going, and go ahead. I'm with you.
Is the government
Yes.
purposefully producing shit food for people to consume so they can lower their testosterone?
They're fucking with our hormones, 1,000%. Female and male hormones, 1,000%. They're raising estrogen in females, or
I don't like this. There's too much light coming on my face. I'm so used to having a bill.
yeah,
That's much better.
yeah. I totally believe this because the reason would be if you have a population that's less motivated, there's going to be less resistance. It's easier to.
So it all boils down to power. What is the easiest way to control?
Low testosterone in males. That's the key hormone for everything that makes you a man. And if you fuck with it, you fuck with everything. Like, you're easy to walk all over, basically. You're tired all the time. You don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be so much easier to walk over that population than it would be a highly motivated and aggressive population that has their own thoughts and opinions and confidence.
That makes sense.
I like talking about hormones and stuff.
I don't know anything about. The only thing I know about hormones is mildly related. What little I know about hormones is related to, like, steroid use.
Okay, that's a start.
That's
AAS, anabolic androgenic. That means anabolic androgenic. Anabolic is muscle growth factor. Like, anabolic would attach to your androgen receptors and create protein synthesis, which is what steroids do. So you want something that is more anabolic than it is androgenic, because if it's androgenic, as a male, you're going to get female side effects, hormones. Your estrogen is going to increase. So that's why you take an anastrozole and AI to counterbalance your estrogen production when you're on testosterone, because some of the testosterone is converted through DHT into estrogen. So you have to counterbalance that with a DHT blocker. I love this stuff, dude.
Yeah, all I know is
Ask away. I love
if you take test, your test will go up, but so will your estrogen. Therefore, sometimes you'll have to take an aromatizing inhibitor, right word,
Yes.
which blocks the estrogen. Therefore,
From
it doesn't trigger
converting.
like gyno or things like that.
Acne, gyno, greasy skin. Yep. Trenbolone is a 5-to-1 ratio.
Of
Anabolic to androgenic.
So it's
It's
way
5
more
times-
anabolic than test.
It's 5 times more anabolic than testosterone, which is why it's so effective.
So it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great for gains.
Oh, 100%. It's great for gains, but it's neurologically disruptive, toxic, and extremely toxic to your organs. So I highly advise you not to use trenbolone ever. Unless you're competing for a IFBB Pro card. And if you touch trenbolone, you're probably pretty stupid and you didn't educate yourself properly. That's my stance on trenbolone.
Do you think there will be a way to make steroids way safer?
Yes. SARMs. That's the first step to creating a safer steroid.
SARMs have sides, don't they?
They're suppressive. So if you run a SARM cycle, you need to be running a testosterone base, or else you're suppressing your hormone system. You're going to lose all your gains when you come off, and you're going to crash yourself and feel like shit for God knows how long. You can't run SARMs alone. And that's a misconception that people have when they... So years ago, when SARMs became popular, 2017, I mean, they were out for before that, but they became popular because of people like Dr. Tony Huge and other people that were starting to get notoriety on the internet.
Like influencers and...
Kind of, but like people with credibility. They were marketed as having no sides, no suppression, and only positives. That's not true. Now we know they are highly suppressive. They can have significant side effects because they do pass through your liver and kidneys as an oral anabolic compound. Don't take SARMs. There's no long-term studies on them. My opinion has changed significantly in the last year on selective androgen receptive modulators, SARMs, than before. Like I didn't...
You were in the SARMs gang for a little bit. I
100%.
remember talking to you.
Oh yeah, I was all about them. I was like, this is the best fucking...
You were like, yeah, dude, get on SARMs
No.
if you're not going to do tests.
I'm happy you didn't ever get on SARMs.
I thought about it. I came close.
Yeah, no, don't do it. I learned that a lot more about them in the last year. I've been obsessively researching like hormonal imbalances and anabolics and things of that nature. Other things too, but I've always been fascinated by anabolics and stuff like that. So yeah, don't do SARMs unless you run a test base. But even then, so like there's LGD4033, there's Andorine S4, Rad140. Rad140 don't ever fuck with. That's the most potent one so far. So that's gonna fuck you. Andorine is comparable to Anavar. Okay, if you're gonna run a steroid cycle, I know I'm skinny. I don't look like I lift or anything, but I know a lot about this stuff. I don't know the most. I'm not a doctor, but I've learned a lot. If you want to run a steroid cycle, your best bet is to run 300 milligrams of testosterone for 12 to 16 weeks. 300 to 400 milligrams. You want to do the lowest effective dose. Studies. Okay, so there's a study. You can't source it. And I was just reading about it today.
That's a problem.
I know, but you'll find. Just look up the muscle growth, testosterone muscle growth study, and they'll be like the first thing you'll find. They dosed different groups with different dosages. They gave some a placebo. They gave some 25 milligrams to take over a 16-week period or 20-week period. So some got dosed with 25 milligrams. They didn't know what they were getting. 25 milligrams, 100 milligrams, 300 milligrams, and 600 milligrams were the test subjects. And they were all in a controlled group. They all had lifting experience. Their diet was controlled. Their sleep was controlled. Everything was highly controlled for 20 weeks. The 25 milligram dosage study group lost lean muscle mass and gained fat mass. The 100 milligram group gained a very little amount. It was like under 2 kilograms of muscle over 20 weeks, which is equivalent to like 4 or 5 pounds, something like that. And you saw a massive uptick at the 300 and 600. The difference between 300 and 600 is not conducive to the side effects that you're going to get between the two. If you take 300, you're going to get way less side effects and similar muscle growth than if you took 600 milligrams. You would get more muscle growth, but
significantly stronger side effects.
What do they call that? What's the term I'm looking for? When things start to become lackluster. If I can say this, it would come across very well. Why can't I think of this? Declining something? Diminishing returns. Fucking stupid. My brain's already fried. The law of diminishing return. Yeah, at a certain point, your return is going to be outweighed by the cons. So anyways, ideally you would run only 300 to 400 milligrams of test, enanthate or cypionate. Cypionate's a longer ester, so you have to inject twice a week or once a week, preferably twice a week, instead of enanthate, which is a daily injection. Needles suck. Cypionate, which is the most popular.
I want to jump back to the 25 milligram. Were they losing muscle mass because, from what I know about when you take test, your body says, hey, I'm getting an influx of this stuff that I can naturally produce, therefore I'm going to stop naturally producing it because I'm getting it from somewhere else.
Exactly.
That's why your balls shrink. Were they losing muscle mass because the body said, I'm getting this from somewhere else, although it's not enough, I'm still getting it from somewhere. So natural testosterone production shuts down.
Yep.
And you're receiving a lower amount from what you would normally be producing naturally.
100%. That's exactly why.
Okay.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, they were like the average ranges between 300 and 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. At 25 milligrams, I'm going to take a guess and say that they were sub 150. You're going to feel like shit.
Like real lethargic.
You're going to feel like shit. Oh, yeah. You're going to low libido, like extremely low, extremely lethargic, unmotivated. Your gains at the gym are going to flatline. If you have low testosterone, all that's going to happen. You're going to carry more body fat than muscle. There's so many side effects, and I wish that this was more openly discussed, because so many men nowadays are walking around with sub 300 level testosterone and feeling like shit, and they have no idea what to do about it. No idea.
Probably don't even think about their testosterone.
They doesn't even cross their mind. So like people that we know, that we work with, that we're friends with, that we know of, that are older especially, are very likely dealing with this issue and could change their life if they just knew better, but they don't. And that I wish was more openly discussed, because it could save somebody's life 100%. There's dangers of low testosterone, like physical dangers of it as well. So it's important to operate in a hormonal balance. So, yeah, optimal steroid cycle. Okay, so
the recommended steroid cycle on the steroid subreddit is 500 milligrams of test, 2 pins a week.
That's one of those bro things.
Just like an AI and a PCT.
That's totally viable. I'm not going to say don't do it, but you want to take the minimum effective dose, and that goes with anything. And you're getting more gains from 500 than you are 400, yes, but it's minuscule. You're not even going to notice it. It might be an extra pound or two of muscle over 20 weeks. I think the 600 milligram dosage got 6.7 or 6.9 kilograms of lean muscle mass over a 20-week span, and the 300 was like 5.9 or something like that. And that's half of the dosage. That's drastically reducing your health risks. So why wouldn't, I mean, you can do what you want if you're listening, remember. Not that you're interested in doing that, but you know what I mean? Like, you would be better off.
Why would you want to put yourself through more shit for a very little amount of the gain?
Yeah. So you would start with that, and then if you wanted to add a second compound, Anavar is the least aggressive oral compound. And you don't want to take two bioidentical injectables. What I mean by that is people will combine DECA and testosterone, which are bioidentical, and now instead of taking, say you're taking 300 milligrams test, 500 milligrams DECA, you're technically taking 800 milligrams of testosterone, just different forms of it. People don't realize that. DECA is a combination of esters that are fast-acting and slow-acting. So people will take that, and you're on 800 milligrams of gear, testosterone. That's why you're getting gynecomastia and you're feeling like shit. You're not going to feel good on 800 milligrams of testosterone.
Now, does the DECA improve the muscle mass significantly?
Not significantly, but yes. It has different... So people will... how do I put this? If you're taking cypionate, which I believe has a half-life of 8 days, don't quote me on it, and you want to inject that twice a week. So when you inject, say you inject on Monday, here's your levels. You're on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and now you're going down at 72 hours.
Peaks
in 3 days.
3 days, and then starts to come
You're
down,
on a decline.
and then that's when you have to hit another injection.
You hit another injection on the decline on Wednesday. But people do it once a week because they have a fear of needles or they just don't know any better. And they're peaks and valleys now. They're going through peaks and valleys, which is unhealthy. You need to maintain, if you're going to do this, you want to maintain a steady level. So you want to inject twice a week, Monday and Thursday or whatever day you want. So you keep that peak and you stay steady.
Would it be optimal to lower the dosage per injection?
Yep, you would take...
And then do every day to maintain that?
Then you would take a different ester like an enthate. But that's up to the individual if they want to inject. You're gonna struggle with post-injection pain if you're injecting every day.
It also builds a lot of scar tissue, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that would take years. That would take more than you would not even notice it after 1 or 2 cycles. This is my opinion on anabolic steroids. I think if done properly and with the right knowledge and supervision and you're getting your blood work done, you need to get your blood work done if you're going to do this before and during and after, or even before and after, to get it done twice. It can be relatively harmless. I think that eating a Big Mac at McDonald's 5 times a week is significantly worse than doing this.
Yeah, that's not great.
But one's demonized and the other's like, man, I'm just going to
Well,
McDonald's.
yeah, one's illegal and the other is not. It's sold and
Yes.
advertised.
You would benefit significantly from a steroid cycle like testosterone because you're not at your natural limit, but you have been lifting for a long time and your diet is dialed in. You have the ability to dial your diet in. You know how.
I've been playing with the idea for years now, so much.
Which is understandable completely. You're not going to crash your system off of one cycle. So if you're taking a Nolvadex or Clomid to restart your production, if you didn't take it, it would just take longer, but it would still happen. So say you were operating at 500 naturally before, maybe you're going to operate at 480 now for the rest of your life, or for the time being, because your testosterone declines over age anyway. You might get you're not even going to notice it. And that's unlikely in itself. But you should get your blood work done to see where you're at right now.
I do need to get my blood work done.
You need to ask your doctor for... Doctors are reluctant to do this for some reason. They don't want to give you they're going to ask you why they're not going to be... Tell them that you got to almost lie to them sometimes.
I'll just say I'm curious.
But sometimes they'll say, well, you're young, you're healthy, there's no reason, there's no symptoms. You got to lie about symptoms. Or don't. I tell them the truth if you feel that way. But tell them that effort doesn't feel good. That's like the golden line if you want to get a lab work ordered.
Why would a doctor be reluctant to give?
Because it costs money and it's effort.
Well, they're not paying for it, are they? Someone is. I can see the paperwork factor.
I can't remember
Someone's
the
just
reason.
lazy.
It's partially laziness, but there is another reason. I just can't remember off rip. I was watching people talk about this. But yeah, Dianabol is probably not good either. Stay away from Dianabol. Talked about Tren. Winstrol, stay away from Winstrol.
Winnie.
No, bad. Unless you're, no.
What
It's
about
not
HGH?
It is okay, so my opinion on anabolics is bioidentical compounds are the best route. HGH stay bioidentical because we produce human growth hormone. That's what I mean, bioidentical.
HGH seems like a more high level anabolic steroid, because not high level in the terms
It's
of
expensive, so people don't.
it seems like people who are very in the game to bodybuilding get on HGH.
I got some stuff to plug in here for you.
Plug it.
There are other things you can take that secrete supraphysiological dosage of growth hormone in your system that are not human growth hormone, that are peptides that you can buy on the internet for $50, and they're safe. CJC, I think it's BPC 157 and ipamorelin. You can buy and they'll help you secrete more growth hormone. But growth hormone is not for muscle building. People mistake that unless you're taking an extremely high dosage. It's for anti-aging and joint health and better sleep. People think that it's going to build muscle mass. You're not even going to notice it. You might get a little stronger, but you're not going to put on a lot of lean tissue from growth hormone.
It's not going to be like test or
Not
anything.
even close. No. Test is best. You need to run a test base for everything. I'm over here like telling you to run a steroid cycle on camera.
I've wanted to for a very long time. I don't need convincing. I just have to pull the trigger.
But I think that you need to be aware of.
Yeah, I wouldn't just go buy some tomorrow and start pinning.
You need to know how to do an intramuscular injection. You need to know the needle gauge. You need to know how to properly dose the syringe. You need to know how all that works. You need to have I bet you. No, I won't say this on camera. I'll have
No, tell me.
No.
Convince me more of why I need to hop on gear.
You could get pharmaceutical grade testosterone legally within 2 weeks.
Well, that's when someone is diagnosed with low T, they will give them. You don't have to be diagnosed with low T. Well, then how do you get TRT?
TRT clinic. Go to clinic. Okay, so I'm not going to name drop any. I'll tell you off camera. There's a TRT clinic in Florida that will prescribe you 200 milligrams per week of testosterone cypionate. You just have to supply your blood work, even if it's normal. They'll still give it to you. It's pharmaceutical.
The purpose? Like, why is this clinic
Money.
giving out test? So
they make
you
money.
Just pay them.
It's $250 for a 3-month supply, and they'll give you the testosterone. This is like legit, like pharmaceutical, like
not cooked up in some
not
guy's
even.
lab.
No, this is like something your doctor would give you. 100% legit. $250. They'll give you the test, the syringes, the instructions, the alcohol prep pads, everything you need. Literally everything you need for $250. $99 a month. And 200 milligrams is not considered a steroid cycle technically, but you're going to be operating at a super physiological range. And you are going to make progress at a rate that you would not make progress on naturally. Do you feel like your gains have plateaued?
Low key, but I think that's also part of my diet.
Are you eating in a surplus?
Not really. So I think if my diet is not in check right now. If I got it in check, I think I would notice more gains.
You can naturally increase your testosterone through supplementation that have been studied. Like Tongkat Ollie, I'm sure you've heard Huberman talk about this. Maybe not. There's a supplement called Tongkat Ollie that has been studied and proven to genuinely increase your testosterone and free testosterone. That's another important thing. Testosterone should be secondary to free testosterone. Your total test is way less important than your free test. Your free test is what your body is able to use for protein synthesis and libido and other things. But you're interested in protein synthesis, which is muscle building. So that's what your body is not using for everything else. So how much free test do you have floating around your system that can be disseminated to your muscles? So your free test, if it comes back low,
It means
you should be on.
you just. Well, that doesn't mean you technically have low T, right? Because you're still getting the testosterone to do your normal functions that it is supposed to do. It's
But
just
low T,
it isn't being directed
not
at
necessarily.
muscle growth.
Yes and no. Like if you had good total test, you're probably gonna have good free test. But some people's ranges are out, ratios are out for some reason. They're genetic outliers, but it's not as uncommon as I think people realize. No, if you have normal test, total test, you're still gonna feel like shit. Your body's just gonna be able to function. You're not gonna feel optimal. You're not gonna feel good. So increasing your free test is ideal. But you can increase your testosterone like significantly, and you need to listen to this advice: sleep. You need to be
I
sleeping.
know sleep is extremely important.
It is the number one improver of male hormone. You need to be sleeping more. You should be aiming for a minimum 7 hours. I know that's like difficult,
That is. I
but
can't do
it
that.
has to happen.
I take naps.
No, it doesn't work.
I know. You can't. In a 24-hour period, if you sleep 5 hours a night and 3 hours in a nap, it doesn't equate the same.
So think about it this way: if you're sleeping 5 hours and you're napping for 2 or 3, why not just sleep for 7 hours then, and you have more time in the day?
Well, I don't sleep for 2 or 3. I sleep for maybe a half hour or an hour.
It's not bad. Anything under 40 minutes, sub 40 minutes, and you're not entering certain stages that are going to mess up your circadian rhythm. I'm going fucking nerd this episode.
Well, what I heard is you want to keep naps shorter because after that it's just like you'll feel like shit afterwards.
But the reason is, you're right. The reason is because your brain is tricking itself into thinking that you're
Getting like
it's going into a sleep cycle.
Good sleep. So you entered like REM sleep.
And then now you're popping out of it, and now you're trying to go to bed 5 hours later, and your brain's saying, "Well, what the fuck are you doing? You just had to sleep 4 hours ago. Get up." Now you're gonna either have a low quality sleep, or you're not going to sleep. You're gonna wake up a lot.
So I should just cut out naps altogether.
Ideally, yes. Unless you could take a 20-minute nap, 30-minute nap.
I can't do that though.
You just said you took 30-minute naps.
I usually do, but sometimes that 30 minutes gets extended by the snooze button, and I'm like, ugh.
Hey, I'm guilty too. I love a good nap. After work, I feel so good after I take a nap. Well, unless I sleep for a long time.
I feel horrible after I take naps.
Yes.
I hate it so much.
Let me rephrase this. Okay, so say you sleep for like 20 or 30 minutes. Do you feel like shit?
I set a timer for 30 minutes, usually 35 minutes, and then I'll wake up and I'm like, and I'll press it again.
It feels so good to press it.
It does, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
If I don't do it in the first place, like lay down to take that nap, then I won't run into that issue.
But I'm totally agreeing with you. When you take a hour plus, you wake up.
You feel groggy.
Horrible.
Yeah, you feel horrible.
Yeah, it's almost like you're coming down from like the flu.
Yeah.
Like you're achy, you're lethargic.
I feel like I just ate 2 Big Macs and then went right to sleep.
You're like hungover almost.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Your body's telling you don't do that. That's what that's saying. But yeah, you could just how much sleep do you get on average? You think?
5.5 hours a night.
So what time are you going to bed?
12:30. Usually it's been 12:30 lately.
Well, why don't you start out with trying to go to bed at 12 now, so you can consistently.
I could 100%. I get into bed at like 11:30, and then I don't end up falling asleep until 12:30.
Is that by choice or just because it's hard for you to fall asleep?
Mostly by choice. I'll get on Reddit for an hour.
I'm with you.
If I could cut that out, I could get another hour of sleep.
It's
easy.
so hard. I mean, I sleep 7 hours and 4 minutes. I track my sleep, which I think you should get something. You don't have to get an Apple Watch, but you should be knowing. It tells you like you're around your core, you're deep.
Well, I never have
That's
an
crucial.
issue falling asleep. That has never been an issue for me.
Because you're only getting 5 hours. You're
even if I napped for 3 hours before,
you're lucky.
I could probably, if I lay in bed, I can sleep. If I lay on the floor, I can sleep. If I'm sitting in a chair, I can fall asleep.
Be grateful for that, because a lot of people.
I'm so happy because
I'm not that bad, but I'm not that good at that.
some of my friends are just like, I just don't sleep.
Yeah, you must have a shut off switch that most people don't have.
It's very nice.
Because a lot of people get I can totally get into that where I can't stop. my brain, and now I'm awake. But most of the time I sleep fairly well. So, man, you gotta sleep more. I know you're shaking your head.
There's just like not enough
gotta
time
do
in the
it.
day. That's the troublesome thing.
Well, you watch a lot of anime
Yeah, but it's not like
at
I'll
night.
maybe watch an hour of anime.
No, that's not. I thought it was more than that.
No.
That's not bad. If you need to go to see a doctor.
I know. I've been saying that for a couple months now. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go see a doctor.
Just apply where it's so simple. I had no issue. They're so nice and just nice.
You got to drop the info. You got to drop it again because I'll say I'll do something and I'll even like put it in my notes and then I'll forget one day and I'm like, well, you know.
It doesn't take long. Nothing there takes long if you're worried about like getting there.
Oh, I don't give a shit about that.
Like the application is easy. It took me 5 minutes, if that. Like not even.
I have all of the things required to do it.
Whose insurance do you go through?
I have work insurance. I also am still on my parents' insurance, so I have 2 insurances right now.
You have work insurance, then you're fine. You'll be approved. Dr. Nam, NAM. It's like right down your fucking 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes away. Don't you shake your head.
I know.
Remember
I need to go.
NAM. Just call them and tell them you'd like to apply to be a new patient.
The issue is they're not going to be open on Sundays, so I'm going to have to...
I'll call him for you. I'm going to say, I'm Anthony Luby.
I'm Anthony. I want to be a patient.
Wait a minute. Let me get in the Anthony mode. Hi, I'm Anthony Luby. I'd like to apply.
So that sounds like you're doing a deep voice in the upper echelon of your mouth.
I am. I can't do what you do.
Mine is like down here where the Adam's apple. Just it feels like slightly above the Adam's apple.
Yeah, I don't have that. I feel like you'd be like a good grunge singer.
I hate grunge.
Yeah,
I could
but you have
never
the
think
rasp.
about being a grunge singer.
You'd be like,
I don't think I have a rasp. I think it's more of a smoothness, which makes it difficult to like scream or do gutturals or anything.
Really?
Yeah.
I always envisioned it being easier for people with low voices. I don't have a low voice, but
I can't, in my
easy.
mind, fathom like a raspiness. I don't know how they do it. I have no idea.
Raspy or growling?
Both.
I told you, man, just sigh and add air to it.
It's hard. It's hard when
not.
it's like flexing a muscle you don't know how to flex. Like when I see people try to flex their,
bro.
Alex can't flex his traps.
Really?
He has no idea how.
Even I can. I don't even have any. I can
It's
flex
very for me. It's just you just do it. But some people just can't grasp on how to activate that muscle.
mind muscle connection.
Yeah, you have to practice it.
I can flex a lot of like individual muscles.
I can flex just about every muscle individually.
I wasn't able to flex my lats for like ever.
It took my back. I figured out like 3 or 4 years ago, and I've been lifting since I was 18 years old.
Being fairly lean helps a lot.
Yeah, because you can see what's going on.
Yeah. There's not fat getting in the way of.
Lats are a hard one for people to get to.
I've been working out. I've been trying. I slacked for like 2 weeks. Not that I didn't work out, but I wasn't working out like I should have been. I was just maintaining the formality of working out.
That's better than not going at all.
Yeah. But I'm back on track as of today. I worked out good before I came here. So I feel good. But yeah,
Are you? Well, you're obviously not a morning workout person because you can't.
No,
unless
only
it's
because
unless
I
it's a
have
weekend.
If I was able to get those calories, I've been so used to having a certain amount of calories before I work out that's why I don't work out in the morning, because I feel weak.
I agree.
It's a mental thing.
I don't know how people get into the gym at like 5 a.m. right after they wake up. I need to be
I hit a PR.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you're absolutely crazy. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I need to be away for a little bit. I need to have been moving around. I have to get food in my system, and I have to not feel like shit.
That's exactly how I feel. But some of these demons can get up at 4 and go deadlift 700.
Hell no.
I don't get it.
I love late night workouts. That's my all-time favorite time to work out. Late at night.
That's bad though. Interferes with sleep.
Like, say you're still getting a good amount of sleep.
Yeah. If you have no wake up time in the morning.
Yeah, or if you could wake up later in the morning.
Anthony, run a 16-week steroid cycle.
I want to. My last show, my coach asked me, like, you wanna hop on?
But you were going to Japan at that time.
No, I wasn't. This was in 2021.
Why didn't you? Out of curiosity, you can do it. I'm just curious.
Probably money. I don't know how much it costs.
It's not expensive at all. Sub.
And I thought it wouldn't be crazy beneficial because I'm cutting in an extreme deficit.
You'll hold on. So the thing with testosterone.
Yeah, it's holding on to that muscle mass.
You're gaining muscle mass while you're cutting. I swear to God. You're not going to gain as much muscle mass as if you're bulking, but you will gain muscle mass while cutting, and lose more body fat than if you were natural. Your physique would be crazy.
Maybe next show I'll do it.
I'm just curious, like what you could achieve.
I know, I am too. I wanna do it.
Because you have the muscle genetic size. Like you have the ability to blow up.
It's not even like a fear of needles. I'm not afraid of that.
I am.
I don't give a shit about needles.
Until you're gonna care when you got that fucker hanging an inch above your butt cheek.
Probably it'll be a little different
You'll
then,
be sweating.
but mentally right now needles don't bother me.
So it's just.
I think it's more so I'm afraid of crashing.
So you don't want to have the suppression.
I don't want that. That's probably the biggest mental blocker.
If it was me, I would be more concerned because I don't have the discipline that you do. You are not going to stop going to the gym because you feel less motivated. You're not going to you see yourself just not going to the gym for a month?
No.
Then you would be way better off than someone like me or somebody that doesn't have a structured, disciplined, multi-year track record. So I would worry less if I were you. Because that's a formality for you to go to the gym. That's just part of your day. For me, it's out of my way. Man, I got to work out still. For you, it's just like, I'm going to the gym. You're going to feel a little weaker and worse, but if you run PCT, you're going to restart within 2 to 3 weeks. It'll be maybe.
You're supposed to start PCT after you're off test for like 2 weeks, aren't you?
Yes.
Wait for it all to get out, and then you start the PCT.
I would hypothetically, theoretically, potentially wait 2 weeks before starting, and I would probably notice a benefit within like the first couple of days of taking said restarter.
Psychotherapy.
Yes, it would not take. It's like you'll feel better pretty quickly because you're going from very little to nothing to something. This test takes like 3 to 4 weeks to build up before you notice stuff, but that takes like nothing.
Sounds more enticing as the time goes on.
Anavar. Nandrolone. That's what that's called.
Sounds more enticing.
If you added nandrolone and test at 400 of cypionate.
That's Anavar's an oral, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. But it's not nearly as liver toxic as any other oral.
Probably less than alcohol.
It's extremely mild. It's not perfect. I'm not going to sell you on that.
I think if you drink alcohol,
it's worse.
Yeah, you should probably take that into consideration. Not like, well, I drink alcohol, so I shouldn't take Anavar. It's more of, well, I already drink alcohol. That's worse for my liver. If I cut back on the alcohol and I take this thing to make me bigger, then,
And you can supplement with like fish oils, and that helps. Man, I'm telling you, 20 pounds of lean muscle.
That would be fucking gnarly.
I think you would gain 15 to 18 pounds in 16 weeks.
That's a lot of muscle mass.
Think about 15 to 18 individual 1 pound steaks on your body.
That's a lot.
It's more than people think. 5 pounds of lean mass is significant. The average male can gain a maximum of about 32 to 40 pounds of muscle mass throughout their lifetime. I promise. Look it up.
I believe you.
So 5 pounds is significant.
Is a lot.
So now 10 pounds.
Yeah, I think about it in terms of like a plate. If I'm holding like a 5 pound plate, that is a condensed
measurement of
pounds.
weight.
Yeah, it's very condensed. If you
so
spread
put that on
that out, 5 pounds of this thin, like that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, it's way less denser, so it goes so much further.
Now 15 pounds.
That's a lot of fucking mass.
In 16 weeks.
That's a lot of mass.
Less body fat.
I know, so you'll look fucking gnarly.
And more vascular, better pumps, strength. You'll feel like God. Confidence.
Are you sure you're not
Hey, I don't.
Are you an advertisement?
I definitely am not a massive dealer of substances. Here, don't buy this.
Yeah, I'm not going to the doctor to go get my blood test.
He's going to me. No, but there's Oh man, there's sources that you can. I ain't gonna. I know
I
like
could get
15.
it. I could get it very easy.
Yeah,
I
and
know
you would
enough
prefer to
people.
go through somebody that you're familiar with than online source. I'm just saying. Oh yeah. Anthony's running a steroid cycle, 1 milligram of testosterone. No, 1 gram of testosterone
A gram.
per day, and 5 grams of trenbolone.
I'm gonna look like Phil Heath at the end of this.
You look like Phil Heath times 3.
That'd be like the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Well, we'll probably cut her here.
Yeah, my brain's starting to fry
Yeah.
itself.
Thank you guys for listening into the Stuck at the Airport podcast. We will catch you back here again in 1 week's time.
Have a wonderful evening.
Catch you.